The weather is just great today. It looks like it will be a beautiful day too. Brother told Rose to look at how cute the birds were. The girl noted that he had to untie the bandage so that she could see. The boy pointed out that it was a surprise party, so there was nothing he could do. She should be prepared to be surprised, because everything here is prepared for her. On the count of 3, he opened her eyes. The guy said it was really cool. Rose wondered what kind of grass snacks these were, and thought they were some kind of carrot. They are feasting tonight. Everything is even more sumptuous than she expected, and Bertie must have brought all these precious ingredients from their city. Today is such a special day. The girl did not understand what kind of primitive wooden dishes these were, and could not believe that this was really a table for the nobility. The main course arrived. Rose thought the main course should be different. The main dish was specially prepared for his sister. Rose did not expect this. The guy was very happy when he saw the top-class chicken and offered her to try it. The butler noted that clapping hands at the table was contrary to etiquette. Rose should at least react somehow, because in the end, he is the owner of this house. The guy said that as the eldest in the family, he was very pleased that she liked it so much. To please her, he planned this surprise party in advance, a whole month in advance. Someone said that life is a comedy when viewed from afar, and a tragedy when viewed from close up. It wasn't even salty, and the chicken tasted like it had just been running. The boy laughed and remarked that salt was an expensive thing and they couldn't afford it. The butler again remarked that laughing loudly while eating was against etiquette. Some people can say with confidence that they envy the luxurious life of aristocrats. Among the majority of knowledge, born with a golden spoon in their mouth, it is very, very rare to find a duke's daughter poor as a church mouse who holds a title that can't even be sold. True, somehow, against all odds, she belongs to a very poor family that owns nothing but a house. She was reborn as the youngest daughter of the Carf family. That damned duke! A week before, the girl was walking home and thinking that the people on the signs were the real aristocracy of the 21st century, so she envied them. At least they are not unhappy because of poverty. Aristocrats, of which there are many in the novel Fragments of Feelings in Her Hands. They say that the caste system has disappeared, but they are just like the heroes of this novel, no different from the aristocrats. The girl really wanted to leave this life where she had to pay off her student debts and live without a penny in her pocket. She wants some aristocratic, rich, and elegant life. Suddenly a car ran over her. These were the thoughts she had before she was killed by a car on Christmas Day. When I opened my eyes, I saw that there were 2 moons, and I thought it was very incredible. This is Asuna's moon, and the second Zen. She found it hard to believe. Just by looking at the sky, she immediately understood what kind of place this was. A world where 2 moons coexist in the sky. It could only be a world inside a novel, Fragments of Feelings. The girl was horrified when she realized she was in an affair. The maid ran up to her and asked what was wrong with her. She said that the lady was sweating, so she couldn't be sure that she was okay. The maid called her Mrs. Rose, and then the girl realized who she was. Rose touched her hair and saw that it was lavender. The maid did not understand where the mistress had rushed off to. The girl only said that this could not be. She really is Rosalia Carnef. The girl didn't understand what happened to her precious bank books because they were still on the ground. And today is the day when she should get her salary. The girl thought that it was just a dream. She did not understand at all why of all people she had to become Rosalia Carnef. The girl couldn't believe it was really her pale skin highlighting lavender hair, and eyes green like precious stones, a symbol of elves. Therefore, as the first Duchess of Carnef, she was an elf. In this world, the great hero and his elf beloved played a big role during the founding of the Eridam Empire. Emperor Escher granted a duchy, and in the picturesque lands of Denbridge, the only one in the entire empire built in the form of a beautiful courtyard estate, Carnef. Thanks to the incredible beauty and outstanding strength of the elves, the family lived in wealth, and this continued as long as Rosalia Carnef's parents were alive. And then she, their daughter, became the poorest lady of the empire, and in fact, a failure. This is how events unfold in this novel. The current ruler of the Eridam Empire, Frick Asher, was greedy for territory. In order to take as wives princesses who had land to inherit from other empires, he passed an absurd decree, which announced that the emperor could have many wives. Blinded by the desire to expand his territories, he took women by all available means. But he didn't know that one of his wives was a witch who wielded the blade of hatred. She told him that he was cruelty itself, and that he and his ancestors had always done as they pleased. The woman said she had had enough of his disgusting behavior. She did not understand what was so special about some piece of land, and said that because of his greed, her fiancé also died. He was everything to her. The emperor tried to calm Sabrina down and asked her to wait. The woman said that she was a merciful witch by nature and would give him a chance to repent. She said she wanted her child to learn love and compassion and become a kind person before his cruelty consumed the emperor. So the witch Sabrina cast a curse on the empress's unborn child. And then, without explaining what kind of curse she had cast, she plunged the blade straight into her heart. But despite the curse, the empress and her child were quite healthy. The baby was so beautiful, and the child hardly cried. This child did not cry. He showed no emotion at all. The curse destroyed part of the baby's soul, and this child is cursed. Crown Prince Enoch Escher. He was incapable of experiencing emotions, the main character of this novel, and the plot of the story to resolve the issue of marriage. The prince just now must return to the capital. Moreover, the prince's fiancée is Rosalia Carnef. The lack of emotion has caused condemnation from the Vatican, and this led to a loss of public support, which is why Empress Caroline, worried about the fate of the prince, makes a very simple and smart choice. She decides to take advantage of the duke's plight and create a loud romantic scandal. The empress bribes Rosalia with money, and Rose, tired of poverty, happily agrees to the marriage, preparing to be used at her own discretion. But there was a problem. The man known as the Demon Prince turned out to be very handsome, and Rosalia fell in love like an idiot. But unfortunately, the main character of this novel is not Rosalia at all, but Serena. Watching the lovers, Siren and the Prince Rosalia stepped back. Without becoming either a villain or a secondary heroine, she was used, and then, according to the plot, completely forgotten. But it is impossible to say in advance whether the same fate will befall Rosalia in the future. And even after that, as I took advantage of, she received nothing. This is simply outrageous, and she cannot believe that a girl can become the bride of a prince and kill herself because of love. Because love does not feed. But she didn't even imagine that she could do it if she became the crown princess. All she needed was money. She will be able to get everything that she was deprived of in her past life, including money. Anyway, when she gets out of this damned poverty, she will need to take security measures as soon as possible. She was glad that the lady had already woken up and noted that it looked like the owner had already returned. Therefore, the maids need to hurry up and set the table. The girl thought, when she heard the word master. Her brother was very happy when he saw Rose. He waved to her and asked how she was feeling. This beautiful young man, waving his arms, a minor character in the novel Fragments of Feelings, is the head of the Carnef family, Reyes Carnef, the man who would now become her older brother. He hoped that his little sister was okay, and the girl understood that she should have locked the doors. He experienced such treatment because he was scared when she got sick, but he is glad that now everything is fine. Apparently, before she woke up in this world, Rose was unconscious for over a week due to a fever. Her brother remembered something and said that he was congratulating her on her 20th birthday. Now she is 20 and has become a real lady. So that's it. It turns out it's her birthday today. Reyes told her to open it quickly and see what's there. Even though it's for the girl's birthday, it's still a gift, so she's impatient. Even though the family is bankrupt, perhaps the birthday gift will be special and include some kind of gem or a bundle of money. There, the lady saw a teddy bear. Don't go. They can't put on absolutely useless teddy bear. Rose wants money or something shiny and small. Brother asked her how, and she said that it was just a wonderful gift. Reyes pointed out that he knew she would like it, but she really wanted to tell him he was sorely mistaken. The boy asked what they would do, and assumed that she would like to go to the dwarven forest. The butler noted that not much time had passed since the lady's recovery, and she had not yet fully recovered. So the guy suggested that she read a book in the living room, because he hadn't done that for a long time. Something told her that if she said no, now it would only get worse, so she agreed. She wondered if there was anything in this family's house that could be sold, but as she expected, they had nothing but the house, and it was empty. Reyes asked his sister what they would be reading today, and assumed she would like to hear something about a brave warrior. He also suggested reading something about a witch. Reyes has a gentle, even fragile personality, and as a child, he was deceived by his relatives in every possible way, and so he lost the entire family fortune. Tired of poverty, all the hired workers fled. And in this huge estate, there remained only little Rays, she the butler Bart, and the maid Bertie. But Rays, as the second male character, had one special feature. He is an elementalist, even rarer in this world than mages. He works as a mercenary, hiding the fact that he is an elementalist and that he is Duke Carnef. Fearing that his family would be drawn into politics, he carefully concealed his power. So there were quite a few fans worried about his touching story. Her brother suggested she read both. Rose felt like a preschooler and asked him to read the shorter one. He recounted that he would then read about the witch, and if you think about it, it was because of the witch that part of the prince's soul was destroyed. She wondered how it would be for him to be unable to experience emotions. The girl turned to her brother and asked him what kind of person he thought His Majesty the Prince was. Rose just wanted to see how much she could get out of him. Rays said he was really strong and scary. After all, he had been defeating those terrifying monsters since he was 13 years old. I have no reason for the Vatican to control him like that. If there is anyone as powerful, it is that priest waving a mace. It seemed like it would be difficult to process. Rays wondered why she was asking that. The girl said that it was nothing special, and that she was just curious. Neither Rays nor she, unfortunately, are the main characters in this world, and if they want to squeeze out here, then they need a safety cushion. Enoch Asher is certainly a tough nut to crack, but he turns out to be even more frightening. Therefore, the lady thought about how she could get the prince's money, because if something happened, her life would be at stake. Rays suggested she read now. She doubted that some people here used their heads properly. The butler informed the gentleman that they had brought snacks, and the lady was glad that she finally had a snack. It was good because her blood sugar had just dropped. He was a duke after all, and he should at least enjoy his tea. But there was carrot on the table. Everything was fresh just today from the garden. The gentleman said that their carrots were sweeter than any sugar. The butler remarked that he thought that this dessert was excellent for reading. The guy told his sister to try it because it was her birthday, so Bertie must have picked the best ones. They cooked it for her after all, so she decided to try the carrot. And indeed, she was older than she thought, really delicious. The water from the well of Denbridge is also especially good, and the liquor the master noticed that something was wrong with the maid, so he asked Bertie to take a little rest. Well, the woman said it was her job, so no need. She was always happy to work for him. The lady thought that when a person is poor, having poor health is the worst thing. She doesn't remember her earthly name, but she still remembers how poor she was. There she had no place, no family to rely on. Even when she was sick, there was no money to go to the hospital, so she just held on until she got better. She was always completely alone, but now everything is different, so she said that this won't work. She told the maid to go and have a quick rest because she had worked enough today. Solyanka said that she still had some work to do. Rays pointed out that his sister was right, and they didn't mind, so she could go and rest sooner because that was her order. Bertie was shocked. Even though they were Rosalia's inner circle in the novel, now they were people who genuinely cared about her. It was as if they had become her real family. Bertie had served this absolutely ruined family single-handedly for a long time, and it was impossible that she would remain healthy. They are definitely experiencing hardship, like when she didn't have money to go to the hospital. It is not surprising that she cannot stay on the sidelines and needs to get out of this poverty. The girl noted that there was only one way. Now the key moment that makes Siren the main character is the fragment of the crown prince's soul. When the prince is near this fragment, he can feel again. The girl rose that she should use it for the prince's emotions. Rays asked his sister what was wrong. The girl told him that it was nothing. She's just at home. What's the best way to deal with the airbag? The lady asked the maid to send this letter to Duke Carnefi. This letter was very important, and they could not afford any mistakes when sending it. The gentleman was shocked that she called him to propose an engagement between Rose and His Highness the Prince. It is known that their family has a lot of debt, which is why they are going through hard times. If everything goes as planned, she promises that all his debts will be paid off, and then he will be able to fulfill most of his desires. He must know that this offer is his only chance to revive the Duchy of Carnefi. Rose wondered if her brother and the Empress were really discussing her engagement right now. She was sorry that the Empress had called him so suddenly, because they had not yet finished celebrating her birthday. Rays's hasty departure for Birmingham at the invitation of the Empress means that there is very little time left. The original story's plot is approaching soon. This is great because they can go do some business and get some money. Although it is still early, we need to look for her sources of money, now which will free her from this damned poverty. The fragment of the soul of the crown prince will help her. She will make money by selling emotions. In the novel, while walking along the coast, Serena accidentally finds a blue bead, and then she was able to save the emperor when his ship capsized during a storm, and he fell into the sea. And having received recognition for her deed, the siren was awarded a great prize and title. She is invited to spend a week at court, where after meeting the crown prince, the romance between the two begins in earnest. Therefore, if she finds this fragment faster than the main character, then the reward will just fall into her hands. So first she needs to figure out how to get to Rockingham. The lady turned to Bart and said that she was going to Birmingham. First, she will go straight to Denbridge, where Baron Harris lives. And from there, she thinks to find a way to get to the place. This is great, because she will try to make money by selling emotions. The butler turned to the lady and asked her to be careful, and also wished her a good journey. The girl was very grateful and smiled at him, after which she said goodbye. She did come to Birmingham, but the gatekeepers were shocked because she only had a bag with carrots. They told her to pay the duty. She was shocked that it was her supplies. They were completely shocked that she took it to eat. They immediately started laughing that she had taken carrots with her on the road. The lady did not understand what was funny about it. She looked suspicious, so they asked what she was going to do with the carrots, and who she really is. Rose was an aristocrat and said it was just a carrot, but they didn't want to believe it. It seemed they wouldn't listen to her. Suddenly someone came out to them. The gentleman asked what they were doing, and the guy said that they were checking a suspicious person. The lady realized that this man was Baron Millick Harris. They said that this might be an unregistered witch. Rose realized that I couldn't do anything, and so I took off my hood, and then they raised that it was Lady Carnafy. The gentleman asked her to be generous and forgive the rudeness of his people, because they were completely new, and therefore not yet at all skilled. The gentleman even asked how it happened that she came here alone. Rose is looking for a way to get to Rockingham, but she has nothing but carrots. The gentleman noted that he was also sorry, but he also had no money. The lady in a step that there was no way out, and said that she wanted to go and even on a cart. The gentleman said that if it was on a cart, he thought he could find one for her. Rose smiled at him sincerely because she was overly grateful. She promised to pay him back, but the Baron said it wasn't worth it. Luckily, there was a merchant there, and his name was Kyle. The man said that he would be very happy to help my lady. It's spacious inside, so she can rest. That's all the mistress can provide him with now. She told him to take the carrot and not to be shy, and promised that she would definitely repay him when she returned. So while she was riding in the merchant's cart, 3 days passed, and they arrived at the place she spoke of. Over there is the Innes family's house. Yes! When she said that she would owe him too. That's why she gave him a carrot too. The merchant was shocked, because he didn't even do anything, and Rose promised to definitely repay him too. The gentleman was grateful, but did not quite understand where she was in such a hurry. At the edge of the beach, there is a place where the trees thicken into a kind of forest, and if you go straight along this path, you can reach a snow-white sandy beach and an emerald sea. This is where Siren found the soul fragment. It is the reason that makes her hesitate. She hoped that everything would be fine if she found it quickly. This beach is the private property of Jane Innes, the main character's childhood best friend. So Siren could walk along this beach unnoticed, not worrying about being discovered. She needed to quickly find the shard before she was noticed. She shouted for her money source to come out quickly. The lady decided at all costs to find the soul fragment faster than the siren, but they caught her and shouted that they had an intruder. They immediately decided to seize her. Rose didn't understand why she did it, because Serena had never been arrested. Her financial sources, her starting capital had failed, but her fragment was somewhere here. So she says the reason she entered the family's private property is because she needs to find something. Rose said that it was so, and offered 1 carrot to the gentleman. It was a carrot straight from Dunbridge, so the gentleman was very grateful to her. The lady entered the room and greeted her also, introducing herself as Jane Ernest. This is Serena's old childhood friend. Now the lady knew that this girl was the main character's friend, so she approached her and greeted her, introduced herself. First of all, she asked permission to serve her. She gave her a huge table and hoped that she had guessed correctly, and that she would like everything. It was such a delicious thing, Jane noted, that she was informed that she had sneaked onto her family's beach with that computer, and she heard that she was looking for something, and if she wanted to, before that, she could invite her to this beach as many times as she needed. The lady thought that she could go there for a short time. Then Jane noted that it would not be difficult for her to open the beach to her, but tomorrow it would be difficult because there were guests who were going to visit it. These guests must be the emperor and his beloved, and she has arrived at the exact moment when Siren must find the soul fragment. Rose had to find him faster, so she noted that she wouldn't be caught and everything would be fine. The lady said that it would still be difficult. Rose understood her and noted that her cook was a great cook. She couldn't do anything about it because she couldn't force the mistress. Jane pointed out that she could ask her to cook more if she wanted. The lady noted that she is a real angel, and that is why she can asuna and zen, so that in her life she will work less and earn more. The lady has a guest, Rose understood at first glance. It was the carelessly gathered red hair, the bright amber eyes. This is the main character of this novel, Siren. She surprised when she saw the lady, because she didn't expect to see the fairy lady there. Rose noticed that she was human. The lady immediately apologized and noted that she had never seen such a beautiful person. Rose said that there is a first time for everything. She was grateful to her elven ancestors, but more importantly, she didn't have time for that. If she kept dragging her feet, the stone would hit Siren straight away, so the lady said she had to go now. The lady thought she was going to the beach. Rose told her that she had lost something there. Sirena heard that the beach is closed until tomorrow. So I wonder how it happened that she lost something there. Rose said that this is how it happened, and this thing is very important to her, so she must definitely find it. The girl told her that she knew a way to secretly get there, so she offered to go together, because she was going to go there tomorrow morning anyway. That's it. That's how she'll find the soul fragment. In fact, when she was walking on the beach today, she dropped a small blue stone, so she suggested that they look for it together. Sirena happily agreed to help. It was a great opportunity for Rose. They decided to go together, and early in the morning, the red-haired girl woke up the lady. She said that she needed to get up quickly because she had to leave right now. Rose didn't understand what this was and why they were so strict with her, because it was the complete opposite of yesterday. Well, since she's the main character, they won't grab her. Serena asked again if she had talked about the blue stone. Rose told her that when she found him, she should pick him up and call her because he should not be touched under any circumstances. Dangerously allows the main character to touch the stone just in case the stone might react to her. The weather was just disgusting, and if you look at it that way, then according to the plot today, is the day when the Emperor's boat capsized and he was rescued from the water. On such a day, going out to sea, of course, the ship will capsize. The Emperor is obviously a fool. And suddenly, Rose found it and shouted that it was there. This was the stone, and it was smaller than Rose thought. This is just wonderful and perfect now. She must go forward and follow the road of money. The siren asked if this was really the stone she had lost, and the lady confirmed it. The girl was very happy and asked what it was. When the lady looked, she saw that there was a storms. And there is the Emperor's boat. Sirena was shocked that they went out to sea on such a small boat on such a day. Rose noted that they were some kind of idiots. A little more, and the boat would capsize. Rose thought that this could happen. Serena doesn't understand at all what to do because the boat capsized. The siren did not understand what she was doing, and the lady told her that His Highness was there and he needed to be saved. His Highness is the one who fell into the sea. This is His Majesty the Emperor. So she told Siren to help him quickly, and the girl immediately jumped into the sea. Rose noticed that this carrot tasted simply great. She made sure that she received a knighthood and believes that her duty is fulfilled. The knights got there pretty quickly, and the situation was already resolved. Rose decided to help a little more and said that due to the weather, His Majesty's boat capsized. But this girl saved His Majesty. The knights were shocked by this. Now everything is clear. At the Emperor's villa, the girls were shocked by how luxurious the place was. The young lady threw herself into the sea to save a man. This is a truly heroic act. The siren was very grateful to His Highness, and the Lord noted that saving this man was tantamount to saving the country. For this, he grants her the Viscountcy of Plen, and he wants to invite her to the palace. Finally, Rose can see the prince. The gentleman thought and suggested that it seemed that he was seeing Lady Carnaf for the first time. He also heard that she had recently turned 20 years old and the lady confirmed this. The gentleman noted that she was already a real lady, and upon arrival in the capital, he would give her a worthy gift. The lady actually wanted more money, but that's not the point. The emperor ordered to prepare for them everything they asked for. As I thought, the girl imperial carriage is on a completely different level. Right on the way, and such delicious things that she was simply shocked. Serena turned to her highness and remarked that she seemed to be used to this. Rose asked again. The girl said that receiving a title, becoming a viscountess, all this seemed unreal to her. She, simply following her words, pulled the man out of the sea. The girl realized that because of her, the meaning had changed. In the original, she was supposed to selflessly throw herself into the sea, but now it was as if she was pushing her in the back. She told her to go and save them quickly, but it wasn't true. Rose only told her that it seemed like it was her destiny, and then she asked them what they should worry about, since they were now going to receive their award. She was already wondering how much she could pay. She needed to think about how best to spend their time in this situation. Serena noted that her ladyship was indeed right. Want to tell them that they will arrive soon, Serena was shocked, because it was her first time here. The butler greeted them and invited them in. The lady had saved not just a man, but an emperor. He ordered them to be escorted to one of the royal family's spare rooms. While they are in the palace, they will be provided with clothes ordered from famous boutiques in the capital, and they will also be paid money, which will be quite sufficient to maintain their dignity. Rose was wondering when the crown prince would appear, but when she heard about it, she was shocked. The clippings noted that of course this is in addition to the reward they will receive. The girls were shocked that this was just an addition. Immeasurable as the seas and rivers, the grace of His Imperial Majesty, the ruler of everything and everyone, is exceptionally great. Viscountess Siren can be located in the Room of Roses, and for the lady, the Room of Shining Stars. It's beautiful here because of the many windows, but the heating bills are probably exorbitant. But the imperial family doesn't have to worry about that. Also addressed them with a woman introduced herself. This is through to welcome them here, and her name is Rachel Claudine. According to the rules of the palace, they will provide her with everything she needs. First, they will start with her toilet. Transfer first, need to remove her bag. Rose included them, do not touch, because it is an important thing. A fragment of her soul still inside her. The woman couldn't believe that this bag could be so important to her. The girl raised that she had nowhere else to put her personal belongings, and so in this case, the woman offered an alternative. They provided her with nozzles and told her she could choose whichever one she liked. The lady said she would take this one and immediately moved her things there. With the return of Her Highness, the Crown Prince, many eyes are on the imperial family, so she must be careful about her appearance. Rose realized she shouldn't wander around looking like a disgrace. Today, Her Grace will be making her debut. The girl was shocked that she was making her debuts. They hoped she had a chaperone. A chaperone is a companion, usually an older lady who accompanies a young girl to a ball. The maids now knew what real elven blood looked like. This is so special, and that violet hair is just magical. Looks great with that silver headband. Of course, this face is special. The maids went and asked for forgiveness, and said that they had come to give her gifts from His Majesty. Rose believed that they contained the money to maintain dignity. She was interested in how much money it was. After all, he is an emperor. He will not skimp on money for a snack. Now this hair decoration is very popular among aristocratic persons. The girl didn't understand at all what kind of junk this was for tourists, but the maid said that it was so beautiful and so wonderful. The lady noted that she really liked it, and it seemed that the master attached these exquisite flowers one by one with his skillful hands. So it looks like a live flower is attached to her hair, and she decided that was enough, so she threw the decoration on the floor. She didn't do it by accident, but the jewelry was already broken. The girl hoped that it wasn't a complete disaster. The gift from His Majesty completely fell to pieces, and it's such a pity, because now you can't wear it anymore. Rose screwed up. She hoped there was some way, because the flowers were intact. She turned to the maids and asked if they could collect all the pieces, because she needed them. Everything was ready, so the maids asked Her Highness what she was going to do with them. The lady remarked that they might just look, because she wanted to show the elven way of decorating hair. She asked if they had ever heard of naturalism. The girls noted that naturalism is something cool, and of course because she is an elf. I rolled it. It somehow worked. The main maid came in and asked the lady if she was ready. because she would like to show her the imperial palace and hope that the lady does not mind. The siren turned to her highness and remarked that she would also like to go with her and suggested that they take a walk together through the imperial estates. Rose agreed, and then they all went together. Everything here is so majestic. Serena noticed that there were a lot of people in the imperial palace, and all because it was the social season. Usually it was crowded here too, but at this time the flow of people did not stop. What's more important, there were only blondes around, so the girl didn't understand how she could find the crown prince among them. She heard the lady say that she had heard that this banquet was being held to find a potential bride for His Highness. She realized that they were speaking for the bride. They were sure that it was true because this rumor had spread among the knights. Rose was in great shock because she thought that the engagement story officially ended with her. The plot changed again, according to the original story. Even before arriving in the capital, the decision about her engagement with the prince had already been officially made. However, it seems she made a mistake in going after the soul fragment. Besides, come to think of it, I wonder what would happen if the crown prince showed up while they were together. After all, the soul fragment is not with Siren, but with Rose. Perhaps everything will be as in that episode. In the original, there is an episode in which, after learning about the true nature of the stone, Rose steals it and goes with it to the crown prince. She believed that if she had the stone, the prince would love her. However, the prince only felt displeasure at the girl's actions. As a result, Roselia, crushed and regretting her actions, having fallen out of favor with the prince, returns a fragment of her soul to the girl. Of course, as if it didn't happen, it would be better to meet the prince alone, and so she needs to find the prince faster. Siren noted that it seemed to her that the lady was looking for something. Rose heard that His Highness the Prince was back in the capital, and she had never seen him, and so she wanted to know if he was here. His Highness's face has been on the front page of newspapers several times now, and she is shocked that she says she hasn't seen it. Rose noted that she did not subscribe to the newspaper, which most importantly left the maid simply in shock. In the western wing, on the first floor of the ballroom, there hangs a portrait of His Highness. It is a public hall, but since no one visits it now, it is closed. If she wants to see it, then tomorrow the maid can show it to her. Perhaps it was even better this way, so she said she would be grateful for it. The next day, the maid turned to the lady and said that she needed a little more time to prepare the dress for going out. Things keep coming and coming. The lady is in shock, and she hoped that they would finish before lunch. A woman approached her and asked which lady was having lunch before the ball. The debutante ball and the award ceremony are held at the same time, so no young lady would be happy about such an event. That's why she definitely needs a special outfit. Rose already understood everything. Serena apologized for being late. There were so many trees with unusual fruits here, and she was looking at them while walking. The lady noted that the beauty of the imperial palace was truly mesmerizing. Now they had to take off their clothes and change into petticoats. This woman is the owner of the best boutique in the empire, so she will make the two of them the most fashionable ladies in the empire. Since they are being celebrated as the saviors of His Imperial Majesty, they must conduct themselves with dignity. But since the award ceremony is only 3 days away and time is limited, they have prepared rather modestly. A couple more of these modestly, and the coffin lid will slam shut. The lady remarked that she had not heard what she had just said. Rose said she had just been saying that she was afraid she wouldn't be able to contain her admiration for her masterful organizational skills. The woman was very happy that she would dress them more luxuriously than anyone in the empire, so they could not worry. Rose also definitely wanted to wear this hair ornament. The woman was against it because for such a luxury performance as this, such a simple decoration is a mismatch. The girl said that she was very important to her, but the woman said that there should be a time and place for important trinkets too. No matter how you look at it, this decoration doesn't suit at all. The girl realized that apparently she wouldn't make any concessions. Rose remembered that she could suggest adding naturalism to the elven fashion. Naturalism is what she just did. And then the woman thought about it. Siren noted that she really was a fairy. Well, the girl repeated once again that she was a human, natural and graceful style right into the avant-garde. And it really worked. The lady remarked that she thought that in the near future they would become good partners. Rose noticed that she felt the same way and smiled brightly. She could smell the money now. Something had to be done about that too, so she said she wanted Madame to find her a bracelet that could hold such a bead. The lady noted that of course she would have it in 2 days. The girl said that she definitely needed the most durable one. She finally got to eat, but she was shocked by what they brought her. Rose had no idea where the meat was, and if things continued like this, she would faint from hunger. The lady changed and asked when they would bring something with meat, something like steak or beef stew. The maid asked what she was talking about, since meat is a product that should definitely be avoided. Of course, she didn't know that that's why she said it. Meat doesn't melt fat, and even the Vatican asked to give up eating meat and alcohol. Appetite was considered a sin that made them gain weight and harm their health. The lady understood her, and now knew that everything would be as always. It's all the fault of this damned Vatican. The main thing is that the maid is under the grated, that she is very glad that she liked the food, because it makes their work meaningful. She informed the lady that a maid would be sent tomorrow to show her the palace after breakfast. By this time, preparations should be done. Rose asked if she could look at you. The lady was shocked that she wanted to go right now. The girl can't do that. She needs to sneak out and buy something to eat, so she said she wants it right now. The maid suggested that she would accompany her then, but the mistress refused and said that she was only looking around quickly alone. The maid told her that it was not customary for guests to walk around the imperial palace on their own, so they would all go together. Sirena approached him and offered to do so because she would like to see Her Highness the Princess's atelier in the East Wing. Going with Serena was also not an option. The girl only suggested that she go together. Rose said that it was not necessary because she only wanted to look around the area a little and noted that elves always like to walk alone. Serena couldn't believe it, but the lady confirmed it and said that she would be back soon, so there was no need to worry. The maid told her not to go too far and to be careful with strangers. Rose decided to spend her money on dignity and hoped that with this money, she would be able to eat as many meat sandwiches as she wanted. She wondered how long it would take her to get to the street cafe. She didn't understand what was going on and why there were so many people here. They were journalists, and the lady was simply horrified. Suddenly, they noticed this girl in a robe. They see her for the first time. No one has ever seen anyone walking around the palace like that before. The lady could not believe that they were all reporters. Meanwhile, they were thinking that she was one, because she looked very unusual, and perhaps she was a foreign guest. They decided to take a look, because who knows, maybe they'll get an exclusive. So they approached her and introduced themselves. The man asked her if she could say a few words, but she turned away and began to walk away. They did not understand at all why she was avoiding them and asked if she was really an invited guest and where she was from. They were interested in the reason why they were leaving the palace in a hurry, and they also didn't understand why she was wearing a robe. Rose decided that the only way out was to run away. They were shocked and did not understand why she was avoiding them and found it very suspicious. They felt exclusive. Reporters immediately chased after her and were shocked by her speed. And then her hood came off, and they saw that she had lavender hair, just like Lady Carnef's. This is the one that is rumored. And when the girl heard this, she was shocked. The girl asked the lady to wait for a minute because she really wanted to film an exclusive report. She only wanted to ask a few questions and was very charged. If she gets caught here, it will definitely end in a shameful collapse for her. Rose doesn't understand at all. I thought that she should run in the direction where there are a lot of maids. The reporters had no idea where she had disappeared to, since she had apparently come in here. Rose has aged 10 years and has rubbed her entire leg. However, she didn't understand where she was. Perhaps it was the West Wing, because where else could one see such luxury? So this is Enoch Escher. He's a handsome guy, sure, but who shoves gems right into a painting? She wondered how much they were worth and hoped they were real. If you sell at least one, then you can bother me with as much meat as you want. And suddenly, one of them fell out. He just fell out, and other rocks started falling after him. The girl really wanted it to stop. Rose didn't understand why it was so empty and how she was supposed to attach it now. And suddenly, someone came up to her. He was behind her, so she didn't notice him. The gentleman turned to her and asked who she was. Rose knew that this was the end for her. The prince did not understand when she managed to enter here. The lady turned around and realized who was in front of him. The lady believed that it was against the rules to be more beautiful than one's portrait. Enoch caught her red-handed, but the lady asked what he was even talking about. The gentleman asked if she had just tried to rip off the jewelry and take it for herself. Rose was simply horrified and said that it was a misunderstanding and that she had not torn anything off and simply touched them, and they suddenly fell out. The prince noticed that, judging by her hair, she was Lady Carnegie. If Lady was from a poor family, then he thought he knew the motive for the crime that had just been committed. Rose agreed that her family was poor, but it was too much for him to say that. The prince noticed her shifting gaze, her shortness of breath, her attempts to justify herself, and among other things, he saw how she personally tore stones from the paintings. He was ready to leave it to me, calling it a misunderstanding, madame, that this is a person without emotions, and did not understand how he could say all this without changing his face at all. It seems like he's looking at her as an object, and that's a problem, because it's the perfect situation for misunderstandings to arise. Things can't go that badly for her before she completes her main task. But first, she has to somehow get out of this situation. In that case, she decided to bow to him. The prince did not understand at all what she was doing. Rose said she thought he was in a bad mood, so she thought that if she did something to save herself, his anger would at least subside a little. The prince noted that he doesn't even experience emotions, so he simply can't be in a bad mood. The lady was surprised. The guy noted that it seemed she had not heard, that he could not experience emotions. A fragment of his soul is here, and he feels nothing. The girl believed that the reaction should happen immediately. It's impossible for the soul fragment to be non-functional in the novel. He definitely felt hostility towards Roselia when she had the fragment. Perhaps since it is the first time he does not realize it? The lady said that he should have said this earlier, so she suggested that they sit down and talk. The prince was shocked and didn't even know how to respond. The lady noticed that he continued to look at her. Perhaps he felt something. The gentleman noted that he had heard that for saving the life of His Imperial Majesty, she had been invited to the palace as an honored guest. Lord confirmed that this was indeed the case, but this honored guest was caught by him in a closed room stealing. Rose said that nothing was stolen here, so she did not understand what he was talking about, because these stones themselves fell out, which made her confused. Because the lady was quite willful in her behavior, the mistress didn't even know how to deny it. Enoch now decided to listen to who had been caught. The lady remarked that he would later regret having done this to her, but he didn't understand what she was talking about. This man doesn't even know who she is, because in this little bag is hidden a fragment of his soul. This is how it should be the first time. No doubt it will be something new for His Highness. That's right, since this is the first time he can't understand what he feels, so he acts like that. He noted that they were starting to talk nonsense and thinking that it would be better to arrest her. The lady said that he was too impatient and asked him to listen and then judge who she was. She is Lady Carnef, and she says this for a reason. Rose asked him to calm down and look inside himself first. He must feel something, and that is the answer. She asked him not to be afraid. She is an expert on emotions, and she will make sure he can feel it. The prince did not answer, and he was surprised. Of course, he should have been surprised. The lady noted that if he wanted, he could do it right now. The prince realized that she was trying to make him feel something, and he was caught. The lady confirmed this and noted that she had elven blood in her, and she told him that this was possible. This is all possible because she is a very special creature in the whole world. Only she is capable of this. The gentleman noted that he had definitely not encountered anyone like her before. This was because she was special. It was the first time in his life that he had seen such a swindler. The lady noted that this was certainly true, but then she thought about what she was saying. She did not understand at all how one could call a person a fraud who simply wanted to conduct business honestly. The lady did not understand at all why His Highness did not trust people so much. Even if he doesn't believe others, he must believe her, and she is shocked that nothing stirred in his chest. The lady said that he should feel something different from usual. The prince did not react in any way. She can't let her plans go to waste like this before she gets found out or something. She needs to convince him somehow, but she doesn't know how to do it. Suddenly, the lady heard here it is that people are talking about the sound coming from this room. And the noise behind this door, many hear someone's voice from the halls on the other side, and so they decided to check. The princess asked what all the fuss was about. The lady noted that they really didn't know what it meant to surrender, and asked that Her Highness hide behind her for now. Enoch did not understand at all why he should do this, and the lady informed him that his partners were coming here. This will get him into trouble, so he should hide for a while. The reporters were sure that this was the same lady, and now knew where she was, so they asked for a minute to report. Well, they were in complete shock when they saw the lady sitting on the prince's lap. They shouted that it was exclusive and immediately started taking pictures. They asked why they were in the winter hall together and how long they had known each other. They asked what caused their relationship to develop, and the lady was shocked when she realized what had happened. They asked for any comment, and guards burst into the room. They reported that press access to the West Wing was prohibited today, and this was an order from His Imperial Majesty. They said that no one had ever told them anything like that before, and they were immediately sent out. The guards reported that they had sent them all away and hoped that His Highness was all right. They have banned the press. It is not worth expecting that the daily newspaper reporters will retreat so meekly, so the gentleman had better leave this place. In any case, it looks like the two of them have already been photographed. The lady told His Highness that she had not eaten anything today, and it would be so absurd if the lady who had saved His Majesty's life fainted from hunger when there were so many reporters nearby. For some reason, the knight felt ashamed. The prince waved his hand at her. The girl was already very hungry, and then she finally tasted heavenly food. It was all provided to her by the crown prince. The lady did not understand what was wrong with the maids and why they were looking so nervously at Enoch. She decided not to pay attention to it because his face really did look like he was eating some kind of poison. But since he doesn't feel emotions, it's not surprising, he just doesn't feel anything. The lady turned to him and believed that when he ate, he felt the taste of food. The prince did not understand what she was talking about. Rose asked him to try eating, as he had recently with that feeling. Enoch didn't understand what other feeling she meant. Rose had said that it was the same, and recently he should have felt it. She talks about emotions. He definitely felt something at that moment. She thought his heart was beating faster. His breathing was catching, his temperature was rising, and his face was flushed. The prince noticed that there was something similar, so the lady was very happy. Rose told him that this is it. This is the emotion called excitement. But the prince said that it was an emotion called discontent, and this surprised the girl very much. The feeling he experienced when she pounced on him seemed to him similar to a threat. From what she said, it must be discontent. Rose was simply horrified when she heard this. The girl found this very offensive because he says she attacked him, and he felt threatened. The prince was not sure if it was really emotion, but the lady was sure of it. Because she is Lady Carf, and there is elven blood in her family, who that she suddenly appeared on the beach and saved His Majesty, and that she can make him feel emotions, all this is not at all an accident. The gentleman understood this, and asked if this meant that she had some kind of revelation that made everything that was happening possible. Something similar, Mrs. Subject, that for him it must be surprising. First, she tried to steal precious stones. Then suddenly she started cheating. Then she attempted on the life of the crown prince, and now she continues to deceive him. The girl did not understand at all how this accident turned into an assassination attempt, because she was also offended by this. The knight turned to Lady Carf and remarked that she was showing disrespect to Her Highness. The girl did not understand who this man was. If you think about it, she seems familiar to you, and in the novel there was a similar character with black hair and gray eyes. This is Leonard Rohner. Well, she doesn't care, and the man was shocked that she was ignoring him. Rose turned to His Highness and asked if the issue of emotion was important to him. As his partner, she will be somewhat upset if he continues to think of her as a fraud. And discontent is really your emotion, which he felt thanks to her ability. The gentleman was not at all sure of this, but she was serious. He did not understand how he could be sure that this feeling was emotion, since he was also not sure of her abilities. He wondered if this meant that the evil beast that caused this feeling was also an expert on emotions. The girl was simply speechless. Rose realized that there was nothing she could do if he still didn't believe her. Then she would have no choice but to personally show him what real discontent was. She turned to the knight and asked him to take her to the kitchen. The guy asked her if she could really awaken His Highness's emotions. The lady was undoubtedly right, and so he decided to find out what His Highness thought about it. Enoch thought that it might be worth checking, because Andre knew that the lady was aware of how much worse her family's situation would be if she was leading him around by the nose now. When she went into the kitchen, she heard screams that he couldn't do it anymore. This was the chef shouting, because he did not understand what he had to do, because even when he creates the best dishes and puts his whole soul into them, he cannot sleep peacefully. The butler told him to cheer up because he was not alone in this. They all felt the same. The maid apologized for informing that Her Highness had arrived, And with him, the lady did not understand at all what was happening because she just wanted to use the kitchen. He was already kneeling in front of them. The chef said that if he didn't like the dish, they would immediately prepare others and generously ask for forgiveness. There seems to be some mistake here because he only came here because the lady said she wanted to use the kitchen. The gentleman said he was very sorry. Maybe Rose was mistaken, but she thought she could still feel the weariness in his voice. Such misunderstandings must have happened to him often. The chef asked her ladyship what she needed the kitchen for. The lady remarked that there was one omission which she would like to suggest to His Highness. He told her that there was nothing here for that, but the lady said not to worry because she would take care of it. The gentleman said that he would then do his best to help her, but the lady said that it was not worth it. Rose would like to cook for His Highness herself, so they can rest a little. That's right, they should watch it, because soon the prince will find out, because this is really unpleasant. The prince asked what the people were going to treat him to. Rose noticed that he had a very impatient character. The knight said that this was again disrespectful, but the lady ignored him again. Rose asked Enoch if he had tried anything unusual, and he was not sure because all the food was similar. Of course, the food in the imperial palace would be better. The dishes that were recently brought to him in the greenhouse were delicacies among delicacies. And if he eats such food all the time, it is not surprising that he does not understand the value of delicacies. Some foods bring joy and pleasure, and some even happiness. But there is food that causes indignation. So the lady is going to show His Highness how to experience emotions through food. The maids did not understand at all what she was talking about and what emotions she had in mind. The lady asked for permission to prove that her ability was real and that she was not a fraud at all. The lady reported that everything was ready, and it looked as if it was straight from the ass. The servant said that if you ate something like that, you could definitely die. The knight asked what this horrible mixture was. Rose didn't understand at all what he was talking about because she had prepared it especially for His Highness, but he thought that it wasn't food at all. He turned to His Highness and said that the lady definitely harbored a grudge against the imperial family and was probably trying to poison him. The lady noted that he himself saw how she cooked, so she did not add anything inedible. This was confirmed by him, turning to His Highness, and noting that judging by what he saw during the preparation process, if he ate it, he would feel ill. The lady said no, it wasn't spoiled, so it was better to just try it first. The knight did not understand at all how the lady dared to do this, and said that she was arrested on suspicion of poisoning. Rose is upset by this, but the prince decides to try it. Everyone is simply horrified, and the prince continued to eat it. And then he turned to the knight and ordered him to immediately arrest the woman for attempting to kill a member of the imperial family. Rose asked them to stop and asked if they had forgotten what the purpose of this dish was. Enoch noted that if she had wanted to kill him, he would have said that she had almost succeeded. This is a dish of indignation food that will make him angry if he eats it, and food that I would tear even a saint to pieces if I tried it. Tomorrow, I asked why the lady cooked this dish of indignation. Rose, I don't understand why these emotions? She turned to His Highness and asked if he felt it when he ate it. Enoch doesn't know if it's indignation, but he thinks he's lost his sense of taste. Rose noted that it seemed that His Highness was inclined to exaggerate a little and turned to the chief. She asked him to order something simple from what His Highness liked most. If it was something that pleased His Highness, he decided he would do it. The gentleman asked them to wait a little and then got to work. As expected from the chef, nothing to do with that hellish dish. The chef asked him to try a fresh sandwich, stuffed with arugula and cheese bruschetta, with shrimp and a veal steak with a touch of acidity in the form of warmed red wine. Rose turned to his height and said that this time he should try them one by one. The servant noticed that His Highness's plates were shining with cleanliness. Enoch noted that it was delicious, and that made the chef happy. Rose said that His Highness preferred the food prepared by the chef to the chaos of the products she created. The prince remarked that he thought he now understood why people ate delicious food. He didn't even know he liked such food. But now he realized for sure that all 3 dishes were pleasant to eat. The chef was very touched and bowed to him. At first glance, one can tell how difficult it was to please the crown prince's taste. The empress always kept a particularly close eye on the emotionless prince, and often replaced his servants if the prince's reaction was even slightly different from usual. Reading the book, she could only feel the empress's experience. But seeing all this, however, Now she understands what a stifling environment they work in, and it must have been hard for this boss too. Rose asked how he felt, and wondered if it was different from her food. The prince noticed that when he was eating the strange soup here, it seemed that the rotation here would make him vomit. And this face twisted itself. The prince definitely has a talent for casually saying cruel things. And when he ate the food prepared by the chef, he realized that he actually liked the sour taste. That's right. Usually most of the burners with dishes that have a refreshing and clean taste were empty. Well, he is sure that after the delicious food, even though he was unhappy because of Lady, his mood improved. All the servants were in complete shock, because His Majesty said that he was dissatisfied and also said that his mood had improved. The words cooking food that can make a person angry were true. The lady approached the prince and asked if he would believe that he was going now, because she was an expert on emotions. Enoch noted that he still had doubts, but admitted that these were sensations he had never experienced before. The servants turned to the lady and noticed that she had awakened His Highness's emotions. But after all that, he just up and left. When she was walking, the boss ran up to her. She was surprised when she saw him, but he suddenly began to thank her profusely. The lady was shocked and asked why. What of it that he heard, that thanks to her, especially violence, His Highness will be able to experience emotions? She wanted to teach him the feeling of happiness. With the help of food, Rose said that it was. Although the original goal was to make him feel indignation, the chief is convinced that His Highness does indeed feel emotions. It was the first time in his life that he saw him like this, and it is not much, but he asks the lady to take a gift from him. Although not everyone will immediately believe and be able to do this in her power, he wanted to express his gratitude to her, since she saved his life. He wished her good luck and noted that very soon, many people would not doubt her abilities. Rose expected gratitude from me, but it was still nice. The lady was informed that her breakfast had arrived, and that the chef had prepared these dishes as a token of his heartfelt gratitude. The head maid heard that she was being followed by reporters, and also rumors that His Highness can experience emotions with the help of her special abilities. Rose confirmed this, and it was very unexpected, so the maid remarked that she thought she should see it. The article stated that the crown prince and the lady were passionately in love with each other. The lady who melted the icy heart, a hot secret date in a deserted winter hall. 3 times as many reporters gathered outside as yesterday. Today she had better not go outside the palace. The lady noticed that the photo turned out quite well. The maid reported that Duke Carf had arrived, so she asked what they should do. Well, he had to come sometime. The guy rushed to his sister's room. Rose greeted him, and the guy was in tears, and asked what was going on, why she suddenly ran away from home, saved His Majesty's life, and now she was in love with the crown prince. He was so surprised. It was lucky that he had left a request for entry into the palace in advance. It was just a small incident during a product demo. Rose was asking what kind of weird thing she was saying because she didn't even realize how serious it was. The next step after engagement is marriage, and the lady noted that this is how she planned it all. The guy didn't understand at all how she could do this without telling him a word. If she had to marry someone anyway, then the richest of the rich. His Highness Prince Enoch was the best option. She gave him the money and told him to take it with him and buy everything he needed, and also asked him not to forget about the checks. The guy was simply shocked and embarrassed. He turned to his sister and asked when she had grown so much, because it was simply amazing. He feels that she has changed a lot since the day she became seriously ill, and it turns out that he is not a complete fool. Siren came because she wanted to know if she minded, but the lady did not have time to finish, because she saw Rose's brother in front of her and was shocked. The Duke remarked that she must be Viscountess Plun. The girl said that her name was Serena. After that, Rose's older brother introduced himself. She knew it because the two of them were so similar that she recognized him at first sight. Rose noted that he was often told that he and his sister looked like twins. In general, these were not very pleasant words, and in the novel, he fell in love with her at first sight, but it does not seem that he is in love with her now. A maid entered the room and apologized for interrupting their conversation, but Her Majesty the Empress wished to meet her personally. She was told to report to the Empress as soon as she was ready. It seemed to have finally begun. It was time for the engagement talk one-on-one with the Empress. Serena said she would then go practice before the award ceremony. Then they will see each other later, Rose told his sister. that the fact that Her Majesty was calling her now was probably connected with the discussion of her marriage with the prince. Even if an article about it appeared in a daily newspaper, if she doesn't want it, she can always refuse. There is a point to this if someone openly declares that they are able to make the prince feel emotions. The empress will not stand aside. So Rose told him not to worry, because that's what would make her happy. Rose is sure that the empress is going to tie her hands by any means necessary. In this case, she has no choice but to use it to her advantage. The girl immediately bowed to the lady and said that she greeted Her Imperial Majesty, Empress Caroline. The woman told her to raise her head because we had heard something incredible, and so she asked if she could really make the prince feel emotions. Rose confirmed this. Caroline noted that the creature she had been looking for was right under her nose. She recently invited the Duke, her brother, here to discuss the matter of her engagement with the prince. Her brother is really a warm-hearted and honest man. He said that he would accept the marriage proposal only after receiving her consent. It was strange, because besides the lady, she had someone else in mind. She has such power here that she can't miss it. So she asked the lady what she should do to get her heart. Finally, here it is, an offer from the Empress. Rose did not understand at all how she could ask anything from Her Highness. Rose must hold out until she makes her offer. Caroline remarked that lady was more interesting than she had thought. The girl thought that the mistress was overpraising her. Caroline noted that she was so brave, and it was simply incredible, because in some places, and not with her brother, we simply couldn't tell her apart. Rose would like to refuse such a compliment. The lady noted that she knows what is in their families, so she will pay them all off forever and free the estate from paying taxes. In addition, as a sign of her sincerity in the matter of marriage, she will receive 1 4-wheeled carriage, 4 horses, and 1,000 gold coins. It is almost the cost of a lord's castle and its estate. If it were the wedding tribute of an ordinary family, it would hardly be enough for a garage. But they are dealing with the Empress, where her understanding is almost not money. After complex calculations, the lady decided that she could ask for more. The Empress announced that to maintain her dignity as a bride, 10 sets of dresses and jewelry would be sent to hers. For the bride's devotee, this was unheard of. Rose was very grateful for her boundless mercy. This is only the first time, so for now this will be enough for her, because this is just the beginning. The Empress thought that she then thought that they had finished this conversation about the engagement. Rose informed Her Highness that before she would agree, she had to tell her something. The Empress was not at all against it and said that she could speak. She understands the significance of the issue of His Highness's lack of emotion for the succession to the throne, and she is well aware that the press and the Vatican are very persistently digging into this issue, and this greatly annoys His Highness, and if in the future she must confront them and do what is right, then she swears that she will put all her strength into it. The Empress thought she was just brave, but it turns out she was also smart. After what she saw, she is inclined to believe that the prince really does need the lady's help in order to experience emotions. Along with this, you need to let everyone know that he is truly capable of feeling. This is the role of a lady. The Empress asked her to take care of her son. The lady noticed that it was very noisy there because the maids were running back and forth. She remembered the maid saying she could rehearse here before the awards ceremony in the East Wing. Thank God there seemed to be no journalists. And there she met Mrs. Siren. She thought that the rehearsal was going well, and the lady confirmed this. She also noted that when His Highness called them, they should go forward to the platform and wait. Then the prince entered, and many did not understand at all why he was there. Rose was very angry that he was here again. Besides, Siren, who is the main character, is also here, and if she meets him, it will be bad. She really doesn't want this, so she doesn't understand what she saw. If she senses a hint of something strange, you can try to somehow run away with him. The gentleman approached the lady and said that they had something to talk about, so he would like to go somewhere else. Love Lady did not understand at all why the prince was talking to this girl, because she did not even look like an aristocrat. Always hanging out with that redhead. Despite his bad reputation, he's quite popular, probably because of his face. Rose hears everything Serena remembered, that she had to finish preparing for the ceremony, so if they had something to share, they could talk calmly. Rose turned to the knight and remarked that it would be just fine if he escorted Lady Sereno. The gentleman remarked that he thought he would go with her just in case the prince suggested that she go to the East Wing. This man, it's completely unclear what he's thinking about, but she still decided to go with him. Enoch heard that Her Majesty called the Lady Rose confirmed it. The prince asked if she really wanted to marry him, and the lady confirmed it. But he didn't understand at all why she wanted it that way. And the lady didn't understand why he was saying that. It's all about money, of course. But the truth must be said that it cannot be. So the lady said that the point is that it might be misunderstood. So she would say that it was because she had no intention of refusing this offer. The prince doesn't want to beat around the bush, so I ask what this intention means. Suddenly, the prince noticed something and informed her that they had to go to the West Wing. I said I forgot in shock, and he whispered that there were a lot of reporters around, and then the girl had flashbacks. Enoch told her where she was supposed to go, and then they went together, but they were still caught. The prince noticed that there was nothing to be done, so he asked her for forgiveness and grabbed her in his arms. Then he added that he would listen to the rest later. They came so she can talk now. The lady asked if there was a reason to avoid journalists so much, because this way they seem even more suspicious. Basically, I noted that whether you avoid or not, the result will be the same. Therefore, in order to save time, it would be better to avoid them. And she also asked what her answer was. Rose remembered and said that if she was going to get married anyway, it would be better to choose the most suitable match for herself. He thought that she just wanted to become an empress. And being an empress is not so attractive. But above all, if she is around people, will think of him as more human. He's not sure why this should be a good thing, since up until now, he's been doing just fine on his own. He doesn't need to win the feeling. If it is a political issue, then the arguments in the form of his strength are enough for him. And these are just obstacles. Things like emotions do not convince people. The lady asked why in that case, Her Majesty did not stop searching for a fragment of his soul. He didn't even know what to say. Rose noticed that his reaction was as if the robot had broken down. The idea of the emotion he felt recently when he ate, he really considered it all impossible. If he wants you to, they can do it again. Enoch came closer to her and asked if she was going to fall on him again like that time. She quickly asked him not to distort the glory of people like that, but the prince believed that the statement about the assassination attempt and fraud was not a distortion of words. The lady was shocked because she did not add poison to the food. He tried everything. Suddenly, Reyes came up to them, and from his face, this picture was not very good. So he shouted at the prince, "What is he even doing?" The lady noticed her brother and saw that he was using the water element. Reyes asked what he was trying to do to his sister. He shouted at the prince to get away from her immediately. Reyes immediately rushed to his sister and asked if she was okay. The gentleman said that she was fine, so the Duke immediately found peace. But she is not sure that her brothers will be okay, but he said not to worry about him. Well, when she pointed in the direction of His Highness, the guy got very scared. Reyes immediately said that he welcomed His Imperial Highness, the Crown Prince. He noticed that his sister and brother had a talent for sudden attacks. Reyes said it was nothing like that, he just wanted to protect her. Now the Crown Prince knows he's an elementalist. As far as he knows, the Duke is not on the state register of elementalists. Reyes said he had no intention of lying or hiding it. The prince thought that perhaps he was hiding it to use in an occasion like this, after which he came closer to the Duke and asked if he was right. Rose came up to them and said that, if they didn't mind, she was wondering if they could continue the conversation somewhere else. Mrs. Claudine said that she had prepared a tea table of sweets today, so she suggested that they talk over the meal. Somehow, the first and second male characters ended up together. Enoch decided to listen to the story of the brother and sister who attempted to assassinate the beginning of the imperial family. Rose told His Highness that she had already repeated herself so many times that she had not tried to kill him. But Reyes stood up for her and asked His Highness how he could flirt with a lady who had only recently come of age. I thought it seemed better for him to say it directly. It was not he who was flirting here, but his sister. And this left the Duke in complete shock and even horror. Enoch also added that it seemed like there wasn't much he didn't know. Rose asked what the big deal was about a kiss when they were about to get married. Reyes couldn't believe that she had accepted the marriage proposal, and the girl had merely confirmed it. Marriage is a decision made by two people who love each other, and a marriage without love is doomed to unhappiness. Rose thought that this was normal, since she was fine, and everything would be fine. The prince turned to the Duke and asked who else knew that he was an elementalist. Reyes said that all three were in this room, and no one else knew about it. The gentleman noted that this beautiful woman ordered him to join his knightly order, and then he would consider that there had been no attempt on his life. Well, that's a pity, because then he would have to be immediately stripped of his title and arrested for attempting to kill a member of the imperial family. He is also subject to punishment for not registering in the state register of elementalists. Reyes said that he would join. Of course he would join, and was very grateful to him for that. The prince himself will take care of the documents. Reyes managed to get out of it. In the fight against the monster, spirits are not inferior in strength to divine powers, and her brother did not even summon a higher-level spirit. It is known that there can only be one supreme elementalist in an empire. What Reyes summoned is probably much more than just a supreme spirit. Rose had heard that there was only one element in the country that had such skills. Reyes told his sister that he hadn't hidden it on purpose. He was going to tell her about it one day. He hoped that she wasn't angry. Even though he didn't tell her, he thought he cleaned and did the laundry and washed the dishes. He did everything. He noticed that her room was always clean, and thanks to the magic of his spirits, that was also possible. Rose noted that she knows and isn't mad at him. In fact, she's glad he's an elementalist. Reyes was very happy when she said that, and noted that he knew she would understand, and therefore was very happy. Enoch said that he would send the contract to the Carf estate so the master could be free. Reyes pointed out that his sister would be here, so he would stay. The prince told him that the duke had been allowed to visit the imperial court, not to settle here. Rose told him that as soon as the reception was over, she would go home immediately if he was worried he could come back for her later. He still has to attend the reception in honor of His Highness's birthday. The guy said that she should write to him, and they could see each other later. He says to write letters when from here on out, placing only an hour, and therefore he will drive her crazy. The principal noted that he also feels something similar. I will experience everything in my chest is squeezed, so it is even difficult to drink tea. Going crazy, that's what this feeling is called. The lady was delighted, because for the first time, he felt the same as she did. Enoch remembered later that they had to continue the conversation. Rose noticed that he was persistent. He asked why she was going to marry him. The lady noted that as he already knew their family was the abyss, and with the help of their engagement, her family would gain wealth, and His Highness would gain affection, and this would be beneficial to everyone. The prince still doesn't know what's good about it, but he understood her. The lady was surprised that he was already leaving, so Enoch wondered if there was a reason why he should stay. Rose noted that of course she was, because she was his fiancée. Apparently, his mother had already promised her something too. The lady said that she didn't even know. The prince still hadn't decided whether he was ready to take part in this. The lady told him to take care of himself. The 4th day since the invitation to the palace. Tomorrow there will be a reception on the occasion of the prince's birthday. And before that, in order for the organization of the reception to be impeccable, many in the palace did not relax until the very end. The lady has put on a little weight, but that's no problem because it's beautiful. Well, they decided to add the accessories she had prepared, and everything would be perfect. And here is the bracelet she asked for. The lady was very grateful for the help. The woman added that it is simple and will not look too much when paired with something, so it can be worn on its own. Looks like this is a training ground. And there was Knight Sir Roner and other guys there. The sir approached the lady and asked what she was doing there. She said hello. Rose said that she had come to see His Highness, and this made everyone very embarrassed, because they saw Lady Carf in person. They couldn't even believe it. She was much more beautiful than in the photo. That's right. That's how you should react to Roselia. Not like some others. Roner said that His Highness was busy at the moment, but in the meantime, he approached them and asked what was going on here. Enoch didn't understand what Lady Carf was doing here, so he asked, I just didn't understand why his face was shining so much, because his eyes were even watering. Rose came up to him and said that she needed to tell him something, and it was a very important conversation. If this is so, then the prince suggested that she go somewhere else first. Tomorrow there will be a reception on the occasion of his birthday, and as he knows, the Carf family is very poor. So much so that they do not have money to prepare a gift. This welcome ball is an event where the aristocrats of this country openly flatter him. Given their family's financial situation, it would be really difficult for them to offer a gift as expensive as the others. The lady noticed that he was right, so she wanted to offer him something. She noted that if it was obvious, it wouldn't harm him, then she could speak. The lady didn't understand why he was so distrustful. Rose would give him things as gifts, but it didn't seem to mean that she wasn't going to do anything at all. True, instead of the thing she was thinking of preparing something else. The prince showed with all his appearance that he was interested in what she was talking about. The lady will demonstrate to everyone that he knows what emotions are. This is the gift she wants to give him. The gentleman thought that she would even give him a guarantee. The lady asked that, on the day of the ball, he simply follow her example. Then they will make everyone there believe that he has feelings. The prince asked her to tell him how she would do it. Well, the lady said it was a secret, and she would show it to him on the appointed day. If you don't have money, you can exchange it for something that has even greater value. This is also a strategy. If he thinks it's dangerous, he can arrest her right there. And she promises him. The gentleman said that he would think about it. Rose decided to assume that, since he did not refuse, everything was decided. The day of the ball. The lady is such a beauty that everyone is simply crazy. But neither light nor dawn woke her up, and she did not get enough sleep. And the maids were very happy that they were dressing the elf. The lady wondered if it was normal that a party that should be fun was so tiring. The siren approached the lady and asked her what to do because she was very nervous. Rose told her that she was nervous too, but the girl said that she hadn't expected it. Rose was excited to see how many awards it would win. The woman said that the time had come, so the maid asked to see them out. Everyone was in complete shock when they saw the gentleman. Rose noticed that everyone was looking at them like that. Of course, after all the fuss, it's justified. Suddenly, some girl turned to Siren. It was Jane. And now the day had come when they met in such a place, so she was very glad to see Mrs. Carnafy. Rose noted that the feeling was mutual, and also asked if they had seen her brother by chance. The Duke didn't seem to be there. The story changed again. This was originally where the prince and Rays were supposed to meet for the first time. Jane wondered if something had happened, but the lady said that no, and nothing special had happened. The lady decided that come what may. And after that, the gentleman announced that everyone should pay attention. His Majesty the Emperor has arrived. The Emperor ordered everyone to raise their heads. Today is the Crown Prince's birthday, and also a chance to officially honor him for his service in guarding the altar. But first, he wants to reward the two people who saved his life. He asked the people to come to him, and then the girls did everything as per the script. The young lady bravely saved a man's life, demonstrating an outstanding knightly spirit. Therefore, he grants her the surname Plun and appoints her Viscountess Serena Plun. The girl was very grateful to him. For saving his life, he grants Serena an estate servants and everything else that befits the status of Viscountess Bersungam. Rose was in complete shock, because in the original, he gave her a house and that was it. It was over. The Emperor noted that there was another lady who risked her life, and that was Lady Carnefo. She will receive a reward worthy of her kind heart and commendable courage. Rose didn't understand at all why there was only one box, because she also suffered like hell, and this is discrimination. But she still thanked His Highness very much. He noted that this hair ornament suited her very well. Rose said it was all thanks to his virtue. She really wanted to be given a house, but the Emperor said that they would finish rewarding the two heroines and move on to the most important gift that he had to give today. He asked Enoch to come forward, and then the prince came closer. He did well despite all the difficulties, and now this sword will belong to him. He asked him to become a worthy man who deserves the honor of the previous owner of the sword. The owner of this ball has finally changed, and this means that he has been recognized as the heir to the imperial family. And now we will have to face even greater difficulties. But the Emperor told everyone to enjoy the fun now. Suddenly, someone called Rose. It was her brother, who said that she was simply beautiful. Only the clothes have changed, and already so much noise. Also, they were found by Lady Jane and Serena. Rays told Lady Ennis that he was always grateful to her for caring for his sister. Suddenly, someone started laughing and asking what kind of crap she was going to hide behind her clothes. She has beautiful clothes, but that doesn't matter, because she snatched a little luck from fate, and freely think that she turned out to be one of His Highness's favorites, and they did not understand at all how the Duchess could be dressed like that. Rays turned to them and asked what they just said. Siren told him not to pay attention, because they wouldn't be talking like that for long. Rose noticed that a gentleman was standing next to another gentleman, and he was showing him his daughter. So she came closer, and the prince asked her what the hell was going on. She, Roselia Carnef, would like to express her congratulations to His Highness on the occasion of his birthday. In addition, she would like to say that she has prepared a very special gift for His Highness. Enoch decided to ask what it was. First of all, she wanted to ask if he had still been learning how to express emotions in the palace. He studied it, so it's absolutely true. And the fact is that he studied emotions from books. She, as an expert on emotions, has prepared a gift for His Highness that will help him to reveal what he has learned. Rose gave him a snack and asked him to eat it. Enoch asked her what she was doing here. The gentleman assumed that he knew what to do at this official event. If he hasn't forgotten what they agreed on yesterday, then she asks him to open his mouth. Well, the gentleman snatched it from her hands and immediately threw it into his mouth. That's not it at all, because it is an unfulfilled reaction. After that, the gentleman wiped her hand. Rose turned to His Highness and remarked that the whole point was to eat in the way she suggested. If so, he will wipe it off. The man thought that this was the first time His Highness did something like this. Their relationship is truly special. The lady has already noticed this. The picture through the eyes of those around was simply shocking. That's great because everything is as it should be. Well, now she asked His Highness to put the snack directly into her mouth. Enoch didn't understand why he would do that. Rose said that they had to show everyone gathered here what their feelings were, but the prince thought that was enough. Rose said that it was serious, they would see each other all the time. Now he just had to trust her, and she would take care of it. She asked him what he was doing. He was shocked that she was asking him about it. Of course it's not very audible. It seems that His Highness is somewhat confused. They will come out like this for the first time. This is what is called an expression of affection, or more precisely, a wife's help to her husband. Enoch noted that in any case, he thought he didn't like this help. It is natural that unfamiliar things cause him rejection emotions. They are like that, and he should trust her, because she is a specialist in emotions. Even if that is the case, apparently, he cannot get used to it, and therefore he noted that it can be considered that he received a gift, and now it is time for him to go. Rose couldn't let it go, because they had gone so far right in front of the Empress. After all, initially by nature, he was friendly, so she decided to pretend that she was feeling bad. She started to fall, but the prince caught her. All the ladies and gentlemen were in complete shock. Enoch wanted everything to be okay, so he started asking her why she started falling so suddenly. Rose said that it was a fake fainting scene he played along well, because this was also to some extent part of her help. Indeed, His Highness does not understand her at all. Rose, as an expert on emotions, will do everything for him. He just has to trust and leave everything to her. After that, the prince laughed, and the lady did not understand what was going on. Everyone was shocked because His Highness laughed, and no one expected that. Rose noticed that he was having so much fun with her that he couldn't even stop laughing. In fact, the girl did not understand what was happening to him at all. The gentleman said that he was not laughing. Rose decided to ask what everyone had seen, then he wasn't laughing, and they were all wrong. He began to remember how from early on the lady with the squirrel and smiled. Rose noticed that he was still smiling. Enoch didn't even know what was happening to him. She really can't be honest with herself. He has to admit that she's an expert on emotions. It so happened that he learned in advance of his mother's intention to enter into a marriage alliance with the Carf family. However, he is interested in how it happened, that people from this family have this ability. Rose told him that he could doubt how long he walked, because it still wouldn't change his fate. It was truly fate that they met. The prince didn't even know what to say. Suddenly, the lady was called by her brother. He came just at the wrong time. Raiz introduced himself, greeted His Highness, and wished for Asuna's patronage and Zen's blessing to be eternal. Enoch added that the Duke was not neglecting his manners today. Raiz told his sister that she was a debutante, so she should lie down with him, and did not understand why she was here. Raiz dragged her because people were watching. The lady asked him to wait. His age seems to think she needs to go too, so she needs to move faster. Rose built it because everything was going very well for her, but her brother ruined everything. Rose said that all the main characters were gathered here, but no one even approached them. Jane said that this is a time of reconnaissance for the aristocrats, so the reception will last 3 days. There's only delicious stuff here. Rose told Raiz that they didn't come here to eat. Rose also asked her brother to come to her tomorrow morning, and he was surprised why so early. The lady said she had to go somewhere. The next day, the lady who made the prince laugh was in the newspaper. For the first time, the prince laughs. So many do not understand who this Lady Carf is. half of Prince Lady Carnef's soul. The events are developing very quickly. The result is obvious after all. The maid informed her ladyship that Duke Carnef had already arrived, so the lady ordered him to be admitted. The girl did not understand at all what was wrong with his brother, and immediately jumped up with questions. There seemed to be 100 reporters there, and he was trying to avoid them. He didn't know what to do, because he was supposed to accompany her, but all his clothes were ruined. Rose dragged her brother along with her, but he didn't understand where they were going. They needed new wings, so they came to the madame, who helped the ladies dress. The woman noted that she had been waiting for her, so she was not surprised. The woman asked what happened and why he had such a terrible bow. Rose turned to Madame Antoine and asked her to transform her brother. She decided to make the minor character of this novel shine. Madame noted that there was no problem in this, and she could rely on her. Rose asked Reyes to come to her room after he changed. He asked them to stop. The woman said she definitely had a couple of things in his sister's elegant natural style. A few hours later, the lady was already dressed, and her brother too. The lady noticed that he was really shining, so she remarked that he was beautiful and became a real handsome man. Reyes thought it was because her brother was the coolest. Rose said that was true, as long as he kept his mouth shut. She was quite pleased with this reaction of people, after which they met a woman. This is Elizabeth Dalton, and she asks the Duke for permission to greet him. The gentleman noted that he had already met this lady a couple of times, and she was very kind and helped him in difficult times. Elizabeth noted that it was only an honor for her to be useful to the Duke. The woman believed that the girl next to him was Lady Carnef, and she also noticed that she had a simply beautiful hairstyles. She thinks that her jewelry will soon become popular, so she made the same one. She thinks they are the only ones who are fascinated by her mystery. If you look at it that way, there are quite a few who imitate her hairstyle. After the lady's engagement to Her Highness, the Duke, she is probably single now. Before the engagement ceremony, he must definitely spend more time with his sister. Rose confirmed this, but did not understand why she said this. The woman said that she was already leaving and hoped that they would have a good time. The Duke remarked that he was very glad to see her and wished her good luck. Rose met Serena. She asked her brother if he knew that Lady Serena had not danced a single dance yet. Reyes was shocked and said he really didn't know. Rose was surprised to see His Highness and the lady, so she greeted them. Rose then told her brother that she hoped that today he would not make any mistakes that would dishonor the honor of a gentleman. The two of them braided their hair too. The ladies said that they too thought it would be funny if they did their hair like Lady Rose's. Rose noted that people today also look simply wonderful. Reyes turned to the beautiful Lady Plone and asked if she would like to dance with him. Serena remarked that she would gladly accept his offer. Rose doesn't know if this is for the better or not, but the original plot has already been violated. The prince's soul is in her hands, and Enoch did not fall in love with Siren at first sight. The lady decided to focus on the situation here and now. It seems she met Lady Elizabeth Reyes, said she helped him several times. Family is a dynasty that has produced outstanding scientists for generations. However, their recent actions were somewhat strange, so the lady asked what Jaina was talking about. Their family has been investigating this lately, and they have found out that they are dealing with information. So she tells Lady to be careful, just in case she was being too friendly with them. Rose was very grateful to Lady for telling her about this. Jaina pointed out that Serena's friends are also her friends, so there is no problem with that. Rose added that she was so kind because she herself wanted to become her friend, and asked that from now on the lady call her Rose so that everyone could hear. The lady remarked that she was an interesting person, so she asked that she too be called simply Jane. The girl noticed that her parents were calling her, so she said that she had to take her leave. Of course they'll see each other again. Everyone started to go somewhere. It's time for her to get down to business. She wondered where the prince was. She realized that the main character was as always, and he had a full house. Well, then she decided that she would go and say hello to him. His Highness was approached at home and asked if he had danced yet. The gentleman said he wasn't interested. The ladies took this to mean he simply didn't care who he danced with. That's why they started to offer their candidacy. His Highness asked if she had heard what he had said. The lady forgot everything, and Enoch said once again that he was not interested in dancing and asked to stop interrogating him. Rose noticed that he had the most stability and still decided to approach him. She thought he was unwell, but he denied it. The gentleman asked if it would help if she faked fainting. Enoch added that he did not deny it. Therefore, the lady began to faint and say that she was ill. The gentleman asked what was wrong with her, and if she was okay. She was feeling so dizzy. His Highness said that he must take the ladies to rest, and they could continue to enjoy the ball. It was all over. The lady noticed that he was good at smiling in public. She noticed that he seemed to be saying that he would not allow her to be harmed, but Enoch said that he had not said that. The gentleman only noticed that it was written on his face. He turned to the lady and noted that recently she had been feeling dizzy from weakness, and she was too energetic. Rose thought that this was why he should speak more carefully, and she also noted that it was quite fresh here. Enoch said that she was a debutante and thought that it was time for her to go. The lady thought that her absence was logical because she was dizzy. Otherwise, she did not understand why he cared about her. The crown prince turned to Duke Carf. The boy immediately noticed him and began walking towards him. Reyes didn't understand how his sister got lost and scared him by suddenly disappearing. She was walking and felt dizzy, and he took her to rest a little and thinks that from now on, he himself can take good care of her. Reyes was very grateful to him and asked his sister if she was okay. Rose said that she was perfectly well and that His Highness had been very kind to her. The gentleman had no idea that His Highness had been looking after her. Reyes was so grateful because His Highness turned out to be better than he thought. Enoch remarked that they were a family of rude people. Reyes said that in that case, he would just take his sister. Rose was simply in shock and asked the gentleman to wait, but he was already saying goodbye to her. This was a complete failure again. After 2 days, the lady noted that today was her last day in the palace. The maid noted that of course she knew this, and then the girl Rose that she would have to leave this luxurious life. Rose believed that she had to give back everything that was given to her here, and that these were indeed the rules. Rose needed hard, but received only 500 gold and a pile of some junk for it. The maid suggested that she go already, because the Duke was waiting for her. Reyes was glad to see his sister had arrived. He noticed that her complexion was unhealthy, so he assumed she hadn't gotten enough sleep. Rose told him she simply had reasons to think. The guy said that if something was bothering her, she could tell him and he would solve everything. Rose told him to help her talk to His Highness one-on-one. Reyes noted that today was the last day of the beams, so he would arrange everything. Rose was grateful to him, and when she went to the ball, she was sure that he was definitely somewhere here. His Highness came recently, but he had to leave on important business. The lady knew it was a lie because the book said that when he lies, he cannot look a person straight in the eye. That's why the gentleman said that the enemy is of no use to her. Then as a specialist in emotions, she is also a specialist in lies. He knows very well who she is. That's why the knight confessed that he was relaxing on the emperor's private veranda. It was pointless to try to avoid her. She came to the gentleman and asked if he was resting. In the middle of the day, he sleeps in the banquet hall, and it seems that even the life of a prince can be tiring. Now she even felt sorry for him. But suddenly, the gentleman opened his eyes. Rose immediately jumped back and noted that it looked like he was having a nightmare. He woke up 10 seconds ago from some kind of bad feeling, and it's not surprising since she's here. Rose was shocked with you that she was to blame for this. Enoch asked what brought her here. The lady is leaving today, and from now on she will try to visit him. Princip didn't understand at all why she needed this, and because they were now officially lovers. The gentleman continued to say that he did not agree to this. Therefore, Rose suggested that he discuss this personally with Her Highness. In any case, she thinks she's made herself clear, so it's time for her to go. She told her brother that they were coming back, and Reyes didn't understand what was going on. He was surprised that she already wanted to go back. Rose said that she already wanted to go. Bertie was very glad to see the master and mistress. She immediately rushed towards them. Rose asked the maid if she could run, because as far as she knew, her back was not in order. The imperial court sent a priest, and through divine power, she was immediately healed. But more importantly, she was so worried she didn't understand at all how the lady could have acted so recklessly. Well, they're still glad they got back safe and sound. Reyes was so happy to be back. Even Rose smiled and remarked that she was very happy too. She thought it would be wonderful to go home and rest. But unfortunately, she had a lot of things to do. Well, at least she got something done, so she'll try to organize everything here. Even though they don't have much money yet, they will gradually change this through their own efforts. The lady wrote down a list of who they needed to hire now, and handed it over to the butler. The man said that she didn't have to hire so many people, but Mrs. A said that he was no longer young, so I think it would be better to hire people to help him. It seemed that someone had already arrived, and it was Mikhail who brought his letter of recommendation from Lady Jane. This is Mikhail. He is 18 years old, and he is from the capital, specializes in growing carrots. That's true, his family has been doing this for generations. Rose remarked that it looked like Jane had found a real treasure. She asked the butler to show Mikhail their garden, and he immediately agreed. Jane is a huge help to her in finding people, and so she is very grateful to her dots. Since it will be easy to increase the workforce, we need to address the main problem. 100 gold principal and 750%. That's all the debt her brother has. It's not that scary, but the men noticed that it was like that at first. Rose came to ask what the beginning meant, and the man said that, in addition to the main debt, she also had to pay 1,700 gold to Baron Oliver and 2,200 to Viscount Woodrow. The girl was completely horrified and did not understand what kind of money it was. The man said that this is the amount that the guarantor must pay for the borrower's failure to repay the principal amount. Reyes asked his sister not to be angry, because they were good people who lent him money in difficult times. Rose was very angry with this idiot and asked him if he knew about the loan planning. The man told the lady that there was still something left, and then the girl began to worry very much about her money. Their 100% debt is 604.90 gold. This is even worse than the Korean illegal loans. The lady suggested starting with paying the overdue interest, and she gave them 10,000 gold. They did not expect anything else. The Empress gave her a promissory note for 1,000 gold pieces and promised to pay off their family's entire debt, but not for long, on joint guarantee. The gentleman said that the lady was as smart as always. Well, he waits impatiently for her next payment. After that, the gentleman wished her ladyship all the best. They would see each other again, so the gentleman wished them a good journey. Rose seems to be trying to remind one of a leaky jug. All that is left is the money received for living in the palace. She asked what happened to the 90 gold coins she gave him. Reyes said that, as she said, he bought the necessary things with them. He suggested that she go and see. The girl did not quite understand what it was. Reyes said it was fertilizer. Rose didn't understand why fertilizer was needed, where everything was growing just fine without it. The guy asked him to listen, because these are not some simple fertilizers. They are special because they were brought from the illuminated land, and with them the fruits will be many times bigger. He used most of it on their farm. Rose was just shocked and asked how much he paid for it. Reyes said he paid 30 gold for it. The lady was very upset. She decided to let the fertilizers be, but she decided to ask what these black eggs were. Reyes said he bought it at the market, and the old lady said it was a family heirloom, and they say it was eggs blessed by Zen. They haven't rotted for over 300 years, and if they have them, a lot of good things will happen. He told her about her engagement, and the old woman dropped the price from 100 gold to half, so he got them for only 50 zlotys and considered this granny too kind. With their help, he will pray every day for her happy marriage. Out of anger, the lady threw the egg with all her might. Reyes was upset because her happy marriage was about to break up. The lady realized that he had been deceived and said that she needed to go out for some fresh air. Reyes asked if she was feeling unwell, but she said she wasn't. He doesn't even know how hard she worked to get that money. They were only at the beginning of their journey, so the lady tried to calm down. She still has a piece of the prince's soul, and with its help she can somehow get back on her feet. Mikhail approached the lady, and she assumed that he had already examined the entire garden. The guy confirmed my point and noted that although Denbridge's agricultural lands are quite famous, her vegetable garden is a real miracle. Rose was surprised, and the guy noted that he was simply amazing, and he would make every effort to live up to their expectations. The lady remembered that Danbridge carrots were a first-class product. She was shocked when she saw what they actually grew. This place was originally incredibly fertile. If you add fertilizer, it would be out of this world. The girl thought about whether she should really sell this carrot. Here it is the smell of money. The next day, the lady got ready to go to the garden. Since ancient times, Denbridge has been a land of elves and dwarves, later settled by humans. According to the original story, Carneth's holdings included the wild forests of the dwarves. The remaining untouched 1,000-year-old fertile lands are full of magic. As expected, the soil here is even more fertile than in their garden. As she delved into Roselia's memories, moments emerged of her and her brother picking and eating amazing fruits. And if they plant them in their garden, then from now on these lands will become their gold mine. She decided to leave handkerchiefs, like this, so as not to forget the place. Everything is much better than she expected. It was a pretty good catch, and she decided to take it seriously tomorrow. The next day, she told the butler that she was going for a walk. The gentleman was shocked that she was going to go for a walk in such an outfit. Rose said she just thought she'd get some exercise and get her new business going at the same time. The gentleman asked her not to overdo it. When the lady arrived, she realized that everything was fine. After that, she decided to start. She collected a lot, and it turned out to be even more than she thought. They will definitely cost a lot, and if you plant them in the garden, they will grow even bigger. There might be peaches there as big as her head, but now it was time for her to go back. She doesn't understand at all why the road is so long. But it wasn't like that, and she doesn't understand why there's a red handkerchief here, because she's already walked past it. She thought that she had tied the same fabric, but until the very night she could not get there and constantly saw this red scarf. Rose didn't want to believe that she had ended up in some kind of labyrinth. And then she remembered that, as a child, she had been told never to go into the dwarven forest alone, because if she was alone, she would get lost. And then she understood him perfectly. Now the lady understood that Reyes was telling the truth, and that everything had happened exactly that way. The girl decided to calm down because she couldn't just die here. She just had to survive somehow. She needs to start doing something. The lady was very scared when she heard rustling. Well, it turned out to be just some squirrel, so the lady calmed down a little. But after that, other animals followed, so the lady began to run away. She sat with her knife under a huge tree and thought there what she should do. Probably everyone. They're worried now. Again, she promised herself she'd never get lost again, because she didn't understand what would happen if no one looked for her. When she raised her head, she saw fireflies in front of her. She was delighted. But then she realized that these guys were here, which meant that her brother was looking for her. The wolves started shouting the girl's name, and at that very second, Reyes ran up there. He finally found her, and the girl realized that she was saved. The brother thought that she was ill, but the girl said that she just finally relaxed. Everything is fine, but it seems like she was very scared, because she was here alone, but everyone was diligently looking for her. Reyes suggested that she go home already. He thought she could walk, but he also suggested that she carry her. Then she turned to her brother and asked him to help her carry the harvest. The magical wolves carried the food, and the brother carried his sister on his shoulders. This is her first time someone came for her. Reyes asked her what she was saying. Once as a child, she got lost. Her parents were up to their ears in work, and the police officers who found her shifted the blame onto each other. In the end, no one helped her, and she asked people for directions and got home on her own. And her parents scolded her because she was hanging around God knows where until late. After that, she promised herself that she would never get lost again. Rose turned to her brother and thanked him. Reyes didn't understand what she was talking about. Otherwise, he wouldn't have done it because they were family. On the way, they met others who were looking for her and reported that they had already found the girl. Rose apologized for being so late. Bertie thought that the lady must have been frightened being trapped in the forest. Well, now everything will be fine, and now for her these people are definitely family. Reyes noticed that something was wrong with his sister, and within seconds she fainted. They are not just apparently family, as she had in the past. This is her real family. The doctor said it was muscle stiffness caused by stress. There is no need to worry too much. The lady will recover quickly if she has a good rest. And he will also prescribe her some medicine. Duratsky noted that as she had heard, she should rest for a while and not overexert herself. Rose realized and noticed that it seemed like guests had arrived. Bart asked the maid who it could be in such a situation. She said that it was Viscountess Plön and Countess Ennis. They were very happy when they saw their friend, and noted that they were very surprised to learn about what happened and thank God she is okay. Rose said that she was fine, but she was a little scared. All the newspapers write that she felt ill. The girl did not understand how they found out, and even published an article. Well, such attention is only to her advantage. The Duchess fainted from exhaustion, presumably overtired, in her determined attempt to restore the shaky family. Serena understood what this meant. All this running around with the garden and planting was because of debt, and she collected all this pile of fruit in the forest. The girl plans to earn a little money selling them. Jaina asked, How about selling them to the temple instead of selling them in the market? Rose was surprised and asked again. The temple should give a good price for the fruits collected in the dwarven forest, because these fruits are perfect for the ritual performed by the church before the start of the rainy season. Around this time, many Terra priests were expected to arrive in the capital. In the original, this became the difficult moment where the real conflict with the Vatican began regarding Enoch's succession to the throne. However, she is an expert in emotions, and the original plot has already changed, so if she knew how to play her cards, she will be able to get her share. The lady noted that she had heard that she had borrowed money from real credit sharks. The credit sharks were the men who came in. The lady told her that borrowing from them was a bit of a questionable decision. There are a lot of dry things going around there, that there is someone behind them. Oddly enough, the aristocracy knows about it, and they even carry out their suspicious dealings with them. Based on this, rumors began to spread that there was a grateful family that was covering for them. Rose asked her to tell her if she found out anything about it. Her brother, who had soup, burst into her room and asked how long she had been waiting for it. He was very surprised when he saw the guests. Serena greeted the Duke immediately. The gentleman thought that they must have come to learn about his sister's condition. Apparently, she hadn't eaten yet, so he decided to cook healthy food himself, which would help her regain her strength. Serena noticed that he was so caring and thought that Rose was lucky to have such a brother. A stew that exploded while boiling. It should be full of energy. The girl did not understand how the stew could explode. The butler turned to the gentleman and said that it was time for him to go to work. Pauline noted that his sister was in such a bad way, and he wouldn't be able to leave today. Rose turned to Rays and told him that she was perfectly fine, so he could go. The boy did not understand how he could go if his little sister was so ill. The maid called the master and mistress. Rose asked Bertie what had happened, and the maid reported that His Highness had arrived here. The girl was simply shocked that Enoch personally came here. All the people greeted His Highness, and he turned to Rosalia with a request to listen to the message of Her Majesty the Empress. For her devoted service to her family, as well as her heroic deeds in the name of His Majesty's safety, Rosalia Carneff will receive a worthy reward. Rose was very grateful and realized that the Empress knew what she was doing. The gentleman asked her to get up. The girl decided to ask what he was doing there. He came for the truant Duke. The boy said that his sister was sick, so he had to cook some healthy food. Enoch told him that the reason didn't matter, because skipping school was skipping school. Leonard was waiting outside, so he had to come out immediately. Rays told his sister to get well soon and asked her to make sure she ate the stew. Well, now he had something to say to the girl. Rose asked the maid to prepare some snacks for them. Serena noted that when they were at sea, she ate this too. The lady told them to try it because it was carrots from their own garden. Jaina was simply shocked because she never thought that raw carrots could taste like this. Rose asked His Highness to try it too, and then the gentleman fell silent. After a short pause, he asked the Duchess if she was feeling well. Rose was simply shocked because he was worried about her. Just now, he himself asked about her well-being. The lady told him that it was just a fainting spell and everything was fine. Serena and Jaina started whispering. After that, they reported that they had visited their friend, so the girls said that it was time for them to leave. Rose thanked them for not visiting her. The lady turned to His Highness and noted that he said he had some other business to attend to. His mother expressed a desire for him to find out about her well-being himself. Besides, he had recently heard about her agreement with his mother. Finally, it reached the prince. He went to an emotional specialist and asked her to tell him how he was feeling right now. Rose is an expert on emotions, not a fortune teller. Enoch was shocked at the table that she was going to convince the Vatican with this ability. The lady noted that this is why his role is so important. The gentleman was surprised and asked again. You can't clap your hands with one hand, which means that their teamwork is very important. Enoch didn't understand what this was all about. Rose asked if he knew what a public couple was. That is, it is not enough, and now she is going to deceive the whole world. His words upset her. She offers him not deception, but a political game that will end as soon as he regains all his emotions. Rose decided that she would show what teamwork between a pair of swindlers looks like. The prince asked how his emotions were supposed to return to him. The lady said that if we were to talk about it, but she didn't understand how this happened, because for some reason she had forgotten the contents of the book and didn't remember anything. The rest comes back to me as if she was there, but for some reason Only this moment seems to have been completely erased from my memory. The prince noted that she seemed confused. The lady said that it was nothing serious, just a small flaw in her plan. No matter how holy you are, the Vatican's conviction is a problem, because the most important thing is to convince the public. It's not a problem if they convince the Vatican the public will follow. That is, if they convince some, then the matter will be over. So the lady suggested doing just that. Everything is bad. She urgently needs to remember the end of the story. She tried to think. Well, the prince came to the table and asked if she was really feeling better, since her complexion was somehow not good. Rose immediately jumped away from him and said that she was fine. She had already told him that. Enoch didn't understand why she was suddenly so frightened. The lady said it was because of this sudden attack of friendliness. Who didn't think that she was wrong, even if it was minimal? She even knows how to deal with sick people. The lady asked about the treatment of her bride. Something like a gentle and tender touch. Enoch admitted that he had not studied such a thing. The lady then offered to teach it to him now, because she was sure that he would learn it perfectly. And after this, the prince began to laugh very loudly. But then he stopped and said that what was said did not even seem funny to him. But for some reason, he continued to laugh. The lady noted that, this way alone, at the same time, she would awaken his emotions. He asked if she wanted him to participate in her plan. Rose did not understand what her plan was, because this was the entire field of Her Majesty. And the Empress, Enoch noted that she was always skillful in words. But since he now knows what her intentions are, he can already return. But then he remembered that he almost forgot to say that when she came to her senses, she should choose a date for the meeting and tell him. As for the location, the palace would be fine. But Rose agreed with me because they had to meet outside, so it would look like a date. And by the way, this should be a place where journalists, of course, will not be able to penetrate. Now the lady knew what the temple looked like. A certain man met them. They always came closer. And then he said that if she did not reveal her personal, then he would not be able to allow her to present herself before God. Rose took off her hood, and he immediately recognized her. She must be Lady Carnif Mayasuna's protection, and Zen's blessing be upon her. The gentleman was interested in what brought them here. The lady said that there was something she wanted to offer them, and asked Mikhail to show it to her. The gentleman remarked that these fruits were delicious and pointed out where to go. They were even better up close, and they would pay them well for them. Rose said that she was going to give it to them as a donation, and the gentleman was very grateful. In total, she received 100 gold. She is very grateful to Jane because she got it only from selling fruits. That day, after Enoch left, she started working to ensure a stable income. Their next target is right here. She came to the store, and there I was greeted by the salesperson, who asked what camera she wanted to buy. The lady wanted the cheapest one. The gentleman was a little upset. The seller noticed that there was just one used. It was not very old, and the price was only 30 gold. The lady agreed to take it. She also asked if he provided warranty repairs, and the man heard this for the first time. The lady stood up and said that they didn't have that, so she told Mikhail that it was time for them to go. A man was following them, and suddenly he decided to approach. He said he wanted to ask her a few questions. It was obvious that he was a journalist. It seems that the journalist was unable to get into Denbridge and was waiting for them here. The gentleman assured them that it would take only a little time. But Mikhail stood before the lady. The man didn't understand what was going on at all, because he just wanted to ask a question. This is suppression of free speech. Suddenly, a man came out and asked if he knew that all suspicious individuals hanging around the entrance should be detained immediately. The journalist was shocked because he is not a suspicious person. The lady noted that this was another reason for the arrest, since the press is prohibited from being here without permission from the royal family. After this, the journalist decided to leave. The lady noted that she and Baron had not seen each other for a long time. The gentleman was shocked and could not believe that it was Lady Carnef in front of him. She was going to thank him for helping her back. Then she was busy, and yet if he had given her that cart, then the soul fragment would have gone not to her, but to Siren. The gentleman asked her to contact His Highness and ask him to forbid the English fatties from coming here. Because of the journalists hiding here and there, he had not had a rest for several days, so the lady promised to pass this on. The lady reported that she had returned and asked the butler if anything had happened. Bart informed her that all these things had arrived while she was away. The lady was simply shocked when she saw it. It was a golden bear. I don't care about a shabby teddy bear, but about real gold and precious stones. She decided to calm down and open another one. She saw that there were gold bars in it. There was a postcard wishing her a speedy recovery. All this called in a word sincerity bribes of a bunch of different people, noble families and influential rich people, merchants and others, all in order to look good in her eyes. Rose believed that this was happiness, and she began to laugh with joy. Their engagement will be later than she thought, but there may be even more people who want to be on her side. However, this was only the beginning. After Michael was sent to the palace, a date was set, and after 3 days, the time came for their meeting with the prince. And as she had requested, she was assigned to an open-air coffee shop for aristocrats. The prince noted that she seemed to be in a good mood. The lady noted that this was because she was on a date with him. Enoch said that she really did feel better, and it was all thanks to him. She was a little nervous because it was a date after all. Although she was busy surviving in Korea and couldn't afford to date, she has a theoretical knowledge base about romance from fantasy novels, and she decided to show him all the knowledge she had gained from there. The lady noticed that he seemed to have been very busy lately. The prince said that he was attending classes to become a full-fledged heir, so the lady asked what he was studying there. Now he is studying everything related to laws. The lady thought for a moment and then turned to him. Rose said that, to be honest, she has a long-standing dream and would like to build her own building on the territory of Denbridge. Enoch informed her that commercial construction in Denbridge was illegal. The lady asked that His Highness listen to her. Rose lost her parents early. She raised her brother Rabbit herself. They lived in poverty, and every day their only food was carrots. He saw it himself. Enoch confirmed this, and the lady continued to say that her brother was in debt and could not even pay the servants properly for their work. But they live relying on each other. And so looking at the garden in front of their house, she suddenly thought, there, why not build a multi-family residential building here? In this way, they will reduce the population density of the capital, and they, their brother and servants, will be able to live in peace on the rent. The prince noted that in the end, it turns out that she wants to build the building for pure profit. She didn't think he could sum up her heartbreaking story like that. Enoch saw that it was Denbridge who was given the privilege of exemption from elven taxes. But there is a trick to life. The lady noted that the elves also needed something to eat, and she believed that her story aroused a feeling of compassion in him. She couldn't believe that he didn't feel any pity or desire to help poor people. Inoku was amazed that she could say such things. The lady became angry and realized that she would then change her approach. Enoch asked what she was doing. The lady said that if His Highness could feel love for her, she of course should help. The lady thought she was as beautiful as a flower, and he probably had no choice. The lady realized that a reaction had begun, and it was clear from his face that he was already head over heels in love. The prince said it seemed to be compassion, pity, and sadness. That's right, these are the feelings he experiences, and now he knows what compassion is. The lady asked His Highness if she could order more, and he was not at all against it. Rose asked the gentleman if he wanted to come in. Enoch was grateful for the invitation, but he had a lot of work to do, so it would be difficult. So the Lord said that they would meet on their next date. It will certainly be so. After that, as he told her about it, he immediately left. I contacted Mikhail and asked if he did as she said, and if the photos turned out good. Mikhail noted that this was certainly true, so the lady could not resist praising him. Lord, I decided to try to earn some extra money. Although the method of developing photos is different here, the light in the studio is still the same red. It was worth the money if you do everything as you were taught, at least when she lived in Korea. She knew how to develop film photographs, but here the printing method is this. You have to take the memory stone out of the camera. After all this, put photographic paper behind this stone, pass light through it, and then the photograph will develop. The lady was shocked when she saw the photographs and thought that Mikhail had a talent for photography. She was worried about whether he would be able to take good pictures, but no matter how she looked at it, the date photos turned out just right. The lady began to laugh so loudly that even the maids became frightened. The newspapers hadn't published any new photos of her and the prince for a long time, so by selling them to a publishing house, she would definitely be able to make a nice sum. Now she needed to find a publishing house. She needed an agent who would sell these photos for her. The Baron was shocked when he found out about this and did not understand why he had to do it. The lady noted that she had found out the current rates, so she asked him to leave it for 10 gold pieces and keep one for himself as a commission. The Baron asked if it was possible. Rose only told him that she didn't know what was wrong with it because it wasn't illegal. Although reporters are prohibited from filming on the private property of aristocrats without permission. However, as an aristocrat, she herself is not prohibited from doing so. Just in case she tried to keep Enoch's face hidden so that the camera's focus was on her. Moreover, he barely makes a living just by managing the checkpoint. So for him, this should be a very good offer, only he has to sign the contract, and then 1 gold coin will belong to him. The gentleman thought about it and finally agreed. After that, he signed the contract, and the lady noted that he had made the right decision. She approached the Baron and remarked that she hoped for a successful partnership in the future. Afterwards, thanks to the appearance of the agent, things went smoothly, and the Crown Prince was busy attending classes and managing his nightly order. However, as he promised, he sent letters, and as soon as time appeared, they spent it in a place where reporters could not get to. Rose ate, he studied, and today he was as magnificent as always. And so her plan to earn extra income continued to flourish. Steadily, coin by coin, bring money into her rainy day chest, and then she will save twice as much. Everything is exactly according to her plan. The lady asked again, because she seemed not to have heard what the gentleman had told her. Enoch repeated what he had just said, that they should postpone such meetings outside for now. The lady did not understand why this happened. The gentleman noted that it was strange because they were only in those places where reporters cannot get. The lady agreed with him, and he noted that recently, photographs of their dates began to appear frequently in newspapers. The lady was surprised and asked again, after which he noted that their help with her had been postponed, and she had not yet been approved by His Highness. Well, if the fuss continues, the Vatican will do nothing for me, and they can't continue to provoke the Church. In any case, their engagement is almost a done deal, and she thinks that sooner or later they will have to face the Vatican problem anyway. The gentleman noted that everything was clear to him, and now he understood how the lady thought. The lady wondered what he had understood about the photographs. Well, she thought he wouldn't do anything to her since there was no evidence on her anyway. Enoch noted that she was indeed right, and it seemed he had been thinking too much. Rose only added that many people do this, but she herself doesn't understand what's wrong with him. In this case, he thinks he should introduce a new law. The lady initially decided to agree, but then she asked again what he was talking about. The prince immediately called the scribe. The man came and asked His Highness if he had called him. Apparently, some nasty journalist is following lady because pictures of their date are flying around in newspaper articles. Fortunately, he is photographed less, but most newspapers have published photographs of the lady, and although she does not say so, it probably puts her in a difficult position. The clerk couldn't understand how they dared. Rose noted that things weren't so bad. Therefore, from now on, all photographs must accurately reflect the source, and there must be a record of obtaining consent to photograph the persons depicted in it. Filming without consent is considered an illegal act, as is the use of photographs obtained in this way by the press. It was a headache for many, so he is very grateful to the lady. After all, I was able to come up with the idea of this law thanks to her. The lady smiled, but she was uneasy. She remarked that it was simply wonderful. That was how that day, right before her eyes, the law on the right to one's own image, copyright, and the right to privacy was introduced. The new laws were immediately approved by the emperor, and the Vatican supported its adoption, as if this was what it had been waiting for. The press naturally was furious, and all gossip articles about her and the princess petered out, and the front pages were filled with headlines about the suppression of the press, but they were not the ones who were the most angry. It was Rose. She didn't understand what kind of nonsense this was, and thought it was real tyranny, because her part-time job and stash will be able to continue longer. The maid reported that Viscountess Serena Plone had arrived, so the lady calmed down. The siren was very happy to see the lady, and greeted her with a sparkle in her eyes. The girl had some good fruit seedlings, and she brought them to her as a gift. If she plants them in the garden, she will no longer have to go to the dwarven forest. The lady realized that she was probably worried about that incident. She assumed that the lady was still working in the garden today, and didn't know what to answer Rose. To tell the truth now, thanks to all the offerings, the garden doesn't make much sense anymore. However, it was obvious that she was dressed like that to work in the garden. So the lady said that she was just about to start, so she offered to help her. Serena happily agreed and said that she would be happy to help her. There is something familiar about her. She looks like her brother. The work in the garden is not easy, but it doesn't seem to be hard for her. The maid asked the mistress what she was doing. The siren told Bertie that everything was fine. Today she came especially for this. This girl really likes it. We need to plant everything quickly. Suddenly, the lady noticed that the siren had fallen to her knees, and so she asked her if there was anything there. She's not sure, it doesn't seem like a stone. She found some kind of box there and was just delighted. It is a wooden box. The lady suggested that she try to open it. Siren asked for a minute because he was locked. When the lady opened it, Rose was in complete shock because there was a gold bracelet inside. And when she dug, there were only stones here. She didn't understand why only the main character got everything. Serena wondered what kind of writing this was, because it didn't look like their language. It might be a treasure of the creatures, another time. Then it might be related to the Carf family. Perhaps the Duke would know what it was, so Serena asked the lady to take it. Rose noted that she had found it and asked why she was giving it to her so easily. This is real gold. Siren didn't understand what she was talking about, because this thing rightfully belongs to the Rose. The girl thought she was a real angel. Rose turned to her and said that she was just an angel in the flesh. Serena did not understand at all what the lady was saying. Afterwards, they quickly finished planting the seedlings, and having cleaned up after themselves, went to drink tea in a clearing nearby. Serena handed her the letter and noted that as soon as she said she was coming here, Jane asked her to give it to the Duke. The Ines family throws a party at the capital's residence. Rose was very grateful to her. She thought about the party and said that it would be her first time going out. Serena hoped that the lady would go. Rose told her that, of course, she would be present. Photos can no longer be used, so the route needs to be rebuilt. Then they would be able to see each other in the banquet hall, so the girls said goodbye. The first thing she had to do after receiving the invitation was to go there. Rose was surprised when she saw how many people were in the studio, and all of them as one with a braid in the style of naturalism. Madame came closer and noted that she had not seen Madame Rose for a long time. The maid showed the mistress where she could go. The mistress did not understand why she should go. The lady winked at her and remarked that she had prepared a special present, especially for her. Rose didn't understand what was happening and asked if it was all because of her. Even though the dress studio is proud of being the top class in the country, they still have a lot of competitors. However, thanks to her, she now has her own exclusive brand. Because of this, her dress studio has been inundated with clients lately, and it's all thanks to her elven naturalism. Who would have thought that elven naturalism could become so popular? That's why she provides her services for life. The lady was simply shocked. Meanwhile, Madame ordered to bring a special gift from her. It was a platinum bracelet. She believed that the lady was still wearing that silver bracelet, and since she was wearing it all the time, she thought that it was a very important thing for her. Rose confirmed this and noted that this thing has some history. Madame thought so, but this bracelet is too ordinary, and she deserves something made especially for her. Rose was a little shocked, but thanked the lady very much. A designer must have an understanding of what is important to the client. The design of this piece of jewelry is such that her stone will fit like a glove. Rose was very grateful to Madame and noted that she would definitely take care of him. It's a free platinum bracelet after all. She noted that the gossip lady and the real her are really two different people. She knows she's overreacting, but maybe she should read this. Mortal duel, self-proclaimed emotion, expert Duchess Carf. Hiding the engagement. What is the real meaning of all this? Madame noted that evil tongues were whispering that the Duchess was getting closer to the prince, not without secret intentions. She doesn't believe it. She's worried about the lady. Rose said there's no need to worry, because the Empress herself proposed this engagement. So, their marriage union is only a matter of time. Madame was simply delighted and noted that she thought so. Well, the lady came to see the new dress. Madame has a dress in the style of elven naturalism, especially for hers. Rose said what dresses she liked. Madame agreed that it was an excellent choice, and noted that she was inspired by a concept she had seen earlier. The mistress was already at home drinking tea. The maid turned to the young lady and asked if she had already chosen a partner. Rose said that it was just a social event, so she would go alone. She wanted her brother to go with her, but now he has new training and doesn't know when he will be released. The lady said that she could go alone, but the brother didn't understand what she was talking about. Reyes promised to find time, and they could go together. In the end, nothing happened. Bertie decided to inquire about His Majesty. Rose noted that inviting a busy person was not a good idea. On the day of the party, the butler and the maid said goodbye to her and asked the lady to return quickly. Rose noted that she would definitely return. After that, she got into the carriage and set off. The Ines family is known for its brilliant reputation, so any nobleman would be happy to attend this party. If she had sold the invitation like the ticket scalpers, she would have made a fortune. The coachman informed her that they had arrived at Ines's residence. There they were, already feasting in full swing, and the lady noticed Siren there. Serena was very happy when she saw Mrs. Rose. She noticed that the lady was just like the Queen of the Fairies, which made everyone pay attention to her. Rose asked if she would become the Queen of the Fairies this time. Siren said that she would not, because that is what she already is. The lady even felt a bit awkward. Meanwhile, the owner of the party had already approached and greeted the lady. They hadn't seen Jaina for a long time. The lady was surprised that she had arrived unaccompanied. She was with her brother, but he said he would be late because of work. The lady did not understand how, and so she noted that they would be able to see each other after the official part. In the meantime, they can enjoy the party. It's just amazing. But Rose especially understood what the girl was talking about. Jane told her to look at those ladies. They were throwing mud at me for my simple style, and now they are all imitating the signature style of the fairy who melted the ice heart. Exactly because the girls from Madame's studio also had her icy heart hairstyle. It turns out it was none other than Enoch. In addition, the appearance of her images in the media became more natural and easier for them to replicate. The reaction to her innocent and fresh image has been very good, and she can't wait to see what interesting things the Rose will bring next. Rose thought that this was some kind of business proposal. The lady noted that this might be so, depending on how she understands it. The gentleman approached the lady and was grateful to her for inviting him to such a luxurious party. Jaina said she was glad he joined her. He was embarrassed, but kept looking towards the lady. Jaina noted that as he had probably already realized it was Lady Carnegie. The guy blushed very much and noted that it was probably Zen's blessing. He was Tylen Lawrence, and she asked him to call him by his first name. The lady also introduced herself, and he noted that she had no idea how glad he was that he had the chance to meet such a mysterious person as she. Roselia was pleasantly surprised. It was such an important moment. She couldn't discuss business because of this guy. She wants to talk to Jane, just the two of them, but he showed up here. Jaina was very surprised when she saw His Highness the Crown Prince enter. He immediately approached the lady, and she was very surprised to see him. The gentleman silently took her hand and kissed it. Everyone was simply in shock. Enoch asked his mistress for forgiveness for being late. Now the lady understood how he decided to show up. Enoch reported that he had finished his business and arrived as quickly as he could, so hopefully he was not too late. Rose didn't invite him, so she didn't understand why he said he was late. Suddenly, a man came out from the crowd and blessed Asuna's patronage and Zin's blessing. He presented his respects to His Royal Highness. She supposed that it must be impolite of him to come at the invitation of the Duke of Carnegie. Listen, His Highness, an invitation is just a meaningless paper card. Of course, as soon as Enoch arrived, people immediately gathered around him. Well, the guy who had met her earlier came up to her and asked if she was okay. The gentleman asked if she was okay, because it was his duty to protect the lady. He noted that this was His Highness's first appearance at such a party, which is why everyone was so excited. The gentleman remarked that he saw that she had not danced a single dance today. It would be impolite to leave a lady without a dance, so if she doesn't mind, he asks her to be so kind as to be her partner. The girl didn't know what to do. She was an absolute zero in dancing. She didn't know how to refuse him. The prince noticed her, and turning to her, remarked that he would like her to take it in her hand so that he could play his part. The lady said that she would gladly agree and gave him her hand, which made the gentleman step aside. The lady told His Highness that she could not dance. Enoch said that it was nothing, and that she could simply follow him. He did not expect any outstanding skills from her. It seems he needs to work on his character more than his emotions. She can just repeat it, of course. I would like to know why she hasn't answered him for a whole week. Rose didn't understand what it was. She even found it disgusting to look at. She did this to attract more attention where they met, what they did. It's boring to read about it every day. But what if they suddenly stop and these gossips come up and make all sorts of guesses? This is all part of her plan. That is, she was not honest in fulfilling the contract with the imperial family. It was too sudden the lady didn't expect it and almost stepped on her foot. By the way, a little more, and she would have been arrested. The lady was upset because he constantly talks about the arrest. It was her chance and she stepped on his foot on purpose. While the prince picked her up in his arms, Rose was very embarrassed and asked him what he was doing. This is not something one usually says during a dance. The lady kept asking what he was doing. The lady was so bad at dancing that he took the initiative. The mistress asked him to let her go, but if he did, her legs would be busy looking for his legs again. Rose assured him that everything was not like that, and that she just didn't know how to dance very well. He's seriously teasing her. After that, he put her down on the ground, and everyone started talking about how romantic it was and how amazing the dance was. The lady also decided to ask His Highness why he came here. As he recently said, the Duke was unable to attend and asked him to come in his place. But this is a blatant lie, because this cannot be, because he kept shouting that he would go with her. The prince suggested that they leave first because he wanted to discuss a lot with her alone. She was scared. The prince asked if she was really saying that she hadn't contacted him all this time because she was busy. Rose said that she had been a little busy lately, so the gentleman asked what she had been so busy with. Well, she was just running around like a squirrel in a wheel trying to save her struggling family. However, they say that the flow of carriages to her house does not stop. And this was indeed so. But Rose didn't understand why he was talking about this, and assumed that he knew that she was taking bribes. Well, he couldn't help but find out, and say frankly she gets too many of them. She didn't understand what the big deal was, because she was pure, and all aristocrats lived like that. She turned to His Highness and asked if he knew what all the other aristocrats had, but she did not. The prince thought that there were many such things. These are not hard-earned incomes. For Rose, this is the most greed. A subject who says to the prince's face that he wants to be idle. Rose noted that she was not alone in this, and that she had financial resources to match His Highness. She would be able to do so morally and materially. Press asked her to let him take care of it. Rose was very surprised and asked again. The prince was surprised that she had not heard, and said that he had decided that he would help solve her financial problems. Rose choked so much and said that her heart almost stopped. Maybe this is what is called love, and the reason for these feelings is clearly not him. The lady asked how he was going to solve her financial problems. The prince asked her to sell him emotions. The lady noted that they are already for sale. Well, these are certain emotions, and he wants her to sell him the emotions he asks for, and he will buy them, it is established. But depending on the category, this is exactly what only she can do. Rose is an expert on emotions, and she decided to make him experience any emotion, and then she could roll in money. He doesn't buy negative and unpleasant emotions. And yes, he doesn't buy absurdity either. The lady did not understand when she had suggested such a thing to him, and he noted that he did not even think that he wanted to be angry. She was upset because she came across some rather picky clients. The emotions are very diverse. There is a lot that she can offer him. Emotions such as pride in the work, done pleasant excitement. Also satisfaction and inspiration, joy, sympathy, and love. Yes, love is there too. She didn't understand how she hadn't thought of it before. This is the final clue to the novel's denouement. In the original, after the prince realizes he has fallen in love with Serena, he received absolute recognition from the high priest, and so she decided that everything was ready. This is bingo. The prince asked what was wrong with her and assumed that she was just feeling sick. Rose said that nothing like that happened, and suddenly a maid came to them. They asked what was going on. The maid apologized for the interruption, but Duke Carf arrived.